I could feel your tender touch. It would ease the heartache that I'm feeling so much. St. Lucian woman, like you cast a spell on me. Come back and love me, shiny eyes. I'll buy you jewelry, shiny eyes. I'll support your family, shiny eyes. If you don't leave me, shiny eyes. Oh, shiny eyes. Mama, shiny eyes. Soon as I mention glitter and shine, she says she'll come back and see me sometime. When I tell she about jewelry, she says she'll come back immediately. Oh, shiny eyes. Mama, shiny eyes. But I should have listened when mama warned. Woman love money like foul of corn. Streets. She stood at the dock of the bay. In my 40 years of sailing, I never felt that way. And as the sun set, I had to face another lonely day. Come back and love me, shiny eyes. I'll give you money, shiny eyes. You could have my property, shiny eyes. If you don't leave me, shiny eyes. Oh, shiny eyes. Mama, shiny eyes. Soon as I mention glitter and shine, she says she'll come back and see me sometime. When I mention me property, she says she'll come back immediately. Oh, shiny eyes. Mama, shiny eyes. But I should have listened when mama warned. Woman love money like foul of corn. Don't leave me. I will come to Castries under the mango trees. I don't care about weather. Or come to Antigua. I'll take you to Barbuda. My island sister, shiny eyes. Come and see a lover. Mama, shiny eyes. Mama, come and see me.
Studios located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop there.
And our transmitter located at the highest point, Bonnie Peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble!
Let me ask this. If there was another regime in government, would you think they would be undergoing these stern questions as well?
Yeah, man.
All right.
Maybe even more.
All right.
Maybe even more.
I wait.
Maybe even more.
But the stakes are high.
Very much.
The stakes are high. I said the other day, and I'm going to say again, those persons who have their personal fantasies as to how they see the world, now use Antigua and Antigua money to carry out your fantasy. Get your money, bring them into your space, and deal with that.
Try the lottery.
You know what I mean? That's that.
I'm a patriot to my land. I am a born. I am a born. I am a born. I am proud to be Antiguan. So to stand up for who you are. Stand up for Antigua. Our country will reach much further. Stand up for Antigua. And when the men get a little bumpy, stand up for Antigua. Hold up your head with some dignity. Stand up for Antigua. Stand up for Stand up for who you are. Stand up for Antigua.
I've seen some valleys, I've walked through some darkness, waded through rivers of grief. Oh, the enemy told me that I was forsaken, no one was fighting for me. But I didn't make it this far on my own, though often my strength is all gone. The hands of the Savior keep holding me up, His promise of help is my song. If God is for me, who can stand against me? No weapon shall prosper when God's on my side. If it's just me and Jesus, I can't be defeated. When my God is with me, I got the victory every time.
Yes, good night, Antigua Barbuda.
He may be
Let me say good night to our Caribbean neighbors
for you
who are locked into ZDK Liberty Radio. Hey, 97.1 FM.
and go.
Let me say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis.
And people tell
Hey, good night to Anguilla,
you'll never
Montserrat.
make it.
Hey, good night, Dominica.
Fight
St. Lucia. St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
it's a choice
Barbados.
to trust on.
Hey, good night to Grenada.
Just remember,
Guyana.
He's all.
Hey, going as far down south as Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, He's never failed me.
Hey, to those who are locked on via the World Wide Web,
And the battle
you might be on the website
red.
at www.radiozedk.com. Or you might have joined us via the Facebook Live. Hey, that's at ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1. Hey, welcome aboard. Hey, to another edition of Real Talk. Hey, where we talk the things real, man.
God's on my side.
Where we talk for Antigua and Barbuda.
And
Hey, that's priority number 1. Then anything else gonna come after that.
He defeated. When my God is with me, I got the victory every time.
Yes, that one is a good one.
Walk through some darkness,
Hey, the scripture that covered tonight's program,
river.
taken from the book of Luke. Hey, Luke chapter 12 and verse 2.
Told me that I was for
And it says,
no one.
for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known.
This far on my
You know, all that take place during the week.
my strength.
I've been following all that's happening. That came to my mind. And so let me go with that one.
Hands of the Savior
Once again,
keep holding me.
for there is nothing covered
Promise
that shall not be revealed,
my song.
hey, neither hid that shall not be known. That means if all and things that some I do believe that are, you know. No man, the Lord will bring them to the light today. Hey, let me say a special good night to Miss Patricia Gums over there in the hospice. Hey, my little sister Nicole and her family over there in the Mount Pleasant area. Hey, my other sisters, Bridget and Nola. Hey, good night to you. Hey, to my only brother, the man Collie Joseph, aka DJ Governor Slim. Hey, to my many nieces, hey, especially Joan, Denise, and Bernadette. Hey, to my many nephews. Hey, what's up, Zian? Let me say goodnight also to Austin. Not forgetting my many cousins. Especially cousin Annette over there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And not forgetting cousin Halima Thomas. She's in Orlando, Florida.
You can't win this fight all.
Let me just say special goodnight to my second mom over there in the United States. Hey, that's Sister Jean Golston. Hey, how you doing, Sister Jean? Hey, big up yourself, Jomo.
Just remember,
hey, good night to you and your family.
he's always done.
Also, right back here in Antigua. Hey, let me say good night to my second mom, Loretta Hunt, over there in the Nut Grove area. Hey, what's up, Loretta? Hey, hope things are going good. Hey, not forgetting my other second mom, Cassie. Hey, how you doing, Cassie? Good night to you. Hey, to my stepmother, over there in the Berlin's area. That's East Potters. Hey, Miss Christophine Lewis. Hey, good night to you, my dear. Hope and trust that things are going good. And to my family friend, or to family friend extraordinaire, hey, down in the Cooksville area. Hey, Mrs. Winifred Christopher, aka Bamsey. Hey, good night to you and family, Bamsey. Hope and trust that all is going good. Hey, bless up yourself.
Every time. If God is for me, who can stand against?
Hey, let me say good night to my fans and them, you know what I mean? Them that hide behind the scene. Them that who record. Don't worry, man. Plenty good for record tonight. Hey, I get that feeling. Plenty's gonna be there to record tonight.
It's just me and you.
Hey, so make sure you get your recorders good.
I can't be defeated. When my God is with me, I got the victory.
Hey, you're listening to ZDK, Liberty Radio. Hey, 97.1. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
When it's all been said and done, there is just one thing that matters. Did I do my best to live for truth? Did I live my life for you? When it's all been said and done, all my treasures will mean nothing.
Hey, let me say good night to Sherry McKenzie.
What I've done
Hey, good night, Sherry.
is reward
Hey, mind the sun flying them.
the test of time.
Hey, what's up, Branty? Hey, good night to you.
Lord, your mercy is so great that you look beyond our weakness and find pure as gold in miry clay, making sinners into saints. I will always sing your praise here on earth and ever For you've shown me heaven's my true home. When it's all been said and done, you're my life when life is gone. When it's all been said and done, there is just one thing.
Yes, to those who may be logged in. May not be feeling in the best of health.
Did I
Hey, but hang on in there, man. God is good every time.
before?
Hey, once you have life, there is hope.
Did I live my life for you?
Yeah, my mom told me that all the time.
Lord, I live my life.
So just thank the Lord that you're still in the land of the living. Love your family. Yeah, and enjoy real talk. Hi.
From a little cottage in number 3 Casada Gardens hails Rags to Rugs. 100% handmade Antiguan interwoven rag rugs by J. Lissa Lewis. We have various sizes of floor rugs, decorative wall hanging rugs, and table mats, uniquely and sustainably handmade. To purchase, send us a message via WhatsApp at 268-770-8088 for directions to our physical location, or we can deliver to you anywhere on Antigua absolutely free. Like and follow us on Facebook at Rags to Rugs Antiguan Made, on Instagram Rags to Rugs, or you can email us at ragstorugs@gmail.com. Don't forget, our rag rugs and table mats are machine washable and dryable. See you soon.
Elaine and Dad's Joseph Consultancy. We consult on labor relation matters, insurance, business matters, and politics. P.O. Box 2287, Francis Lane, Yorks Village, St. John's, Antigua Barbuda. Our email address, it's elaineanddadsjoseph@gmail.com. Telephone numbers 776-0200 or 464-4201. Contact us. We are here for you.
I witness a fight between you people whistle stoppers and scores of laborers. When I see how battle was felting all over the place, I run into your so-so building in order to escape. While inside a youngster asks me whose side I'm fighting for, though his question make me angry, I decide to answer. I told him I don't have a red chip in me, neither is there a blue chip in my body. I am too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and their political party in this island. If there's a chip under my skin, it's a national one. So I'm fighting for the redemption of this nation. Oh yes, I'm fighting. I say I'm fighting to safeguard our native land. Oh yeah, need and thing.
Yes. Hey, welcome back to Real Talk. Hey, right on ZDK Liberty Radio, 97.1 FM. Sounds of the man, Dr. Principal.
The last election I witnessed.
Yeah, no red chip in me, man. No blue chip in me either.
Whistle stoppers and scores of labor rights.
Hey, the Antigua and Barbuda flag for me. That's what I defend. Hey, that's what I feel comfortable defending.
Place I
First and foremost,
also building
anything thereafter.
order to escape while inside.
Hey, the time in studio. 16 minutes after the 8 p.m. hour.
Though his question make me angry, I decide to answer. I told him I don't have a
Dave Beef, Josephine, the company. Hey, how was your day today?
is there a blue chip in my
I hope and trust that you had a good day and that you're feeling the best.
to be fighting
Hey, for those who might not be feeling all that good,
politics
say prayer.
and the political.
Hey, prayer works all the time. Not sometimes.
If
Hey, once you pray and you believe it,
they my skin,
trust the Almighty God will work for you.
not one. So I'm
Hey,
fighting.
let me say good night to my good buddy.
I'm fighting
Hey, the man Plassy, a.k.a. Stonewall Jackson,
for the redemption.
a.k.a. the bearded one. Hey, what's up, Plassy?
Yes, I'm fighting.
Hey, Miss Nalda Jarvis,
I'm fighting.
over there in the Nut Grove area.
I'm fighting.
And to your brother also.
Native land.
Hey, good night, good night, good night.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Deal and deal.
Hey, well, tonight I'm going to be flying solo.
The way he look,
Hey, Jablaki will not be in tonight.
me realize.
Hey, matters, you know what I mean? What is it? What is it? Circumstances beyond this control.
Surprise.
Hey, Jablaki, me look for a song for you, but me not find it yet.
That, regardless of what,
Hey,
their
but I'm going to look for it, man. Don't worry ahead.
country and not those robots
Hey, to the lady who requested shiny eyes.
to be
Hey, good night to you.
to repeat what
The eyes ain't shiny for real.
I come
Hey,
conclusion. He didn't understand.
let me just say happy birthday.
I don't have a red.
Hey, to those who would have celebrated in the not too distant past.
Neither is there a blue chip in my body.
Hey, those who are celebrating today.
I am too conscious to be fighting
Hey, my good friend.
them service
Hey, that's Dulcie Scotland.
and the political party in this
Hey, that's Jackie, your stepmother. So you go, Jackie. So you go, Jackie.
chip under my
Hey, happy birthday going out to you, Dulcie.
channel one. So
Dulcie boy, still look good for your age.
I'm fighting.
Hey,
I'm fighting for the redemption of
happy birthday to you, Dulcie. I hope and trust that the Lord will spare your life to see many, many more.
say I'm
You have greetings coming to you from your husband. Hey, Michael Scotland.
fighting to save their dog.
Hey, from your children. Hey, from Jackie. And all of your friends. Wishing you all the best on your birthday today.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can shake your waist tonight. No worry ahead. Hi. Hey, to those who will be celebrating in the not too distant future. Hey, advance birthday greetings to you. Hope and trust the Lord will spare your life to see your birthday. And that you'll celebrate many, many more birthdays.
While speaking, the political fracas intensified. And in the end, an innocent child was hospitalized. When politicians grant you favor here in this country, they want to control you forever. You are their property. And when they plan, they're chipping you. Your mind become narrow. So whatever you say or do is for them to prosper. I tell them I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in my body. I am too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and the political party in this island. If there's a chip under my skin, it's a national one. So I'm fighting.
Hey, I haven't done these PSA in a while.
Fighting for,
Yeah, I think I'll do them tonight.
I'm fighting for the redemption of this nation.
Oh, yes, I'm fighting.
I say I'm fighting. I'm fighting to save our native land.
Yeah, man. Hey, things are getting kind of interesting around here. I don't know if you have been watching it. Quite interesting.
Most of us take our eyesight for granted. And just as you wouldn't go to a doctor unless you felt ill, many of us don't bother having an eye test until we suspect that something's wrong. Yet regular eye tests are important, because unlike many parts of the body, your eyes don't tend to start hurting if your sight starts to fail. Problems with vision can be almost imperceptible at first. Regular eye checks mean that any issues with your eyes can be found early, often before you notice any symptoms, and many of these conditions can be treated if they're diagnosed early. It's recommended that people should have an eye test every 2 years. There are certain cases in which more frequent checks would be prudent, such as a child who already wears glasses, people with diabetes, those aged over 40 with a family history of glaucoma, and people aged 70 or over. And remember that eye tests aren't purely about making sure you still have 20/20 vision. A sight test can detect health conditions that affect your eyes, including diabetes and macular degeneration. Make the health of your eyes a priority.
Regular health exams and tests can help find problems before they start. They also can help find problems early, when your chances for treatment and cure are better. Which exams and screenings you need depends on your age, health and family history, and lifestyle choices such as what you eat, how active you are, and whether you smoke.
To make the most of your next checkup, here are some things to do before you go. Review your family health history. Find out if you are due for any general screenings or vaccinations. Write down a list of issues and questions to take with you.
Yes, so yes, get your eyes tested if you haven't. Now is the time to get that going, and also that checkup. You might not have had your checkup recently. It's important that you know exactly what's happening with you. We're seeing and hearing all kind of things happening now, so gotta be conscious. Gotta be conscious of what's happening with you. You gotta know what's going on. Don't wait until something might occur. You might be feeling a particular kind of way to go to the doctor. You know what I mean? For those of us who drive vehicles, we know about preventative maintenance, and we're fairly strict with that, and that's for material things, much less your body. You know what I mean? So carry out that performance maintenance on yourself. Go to the doctor, get a checkup, make sure everything is good, and then do that. Drink a lot of water. We've been having some real high temperatures recently, and I'm hearing in the news that this heat wave should be going, well, the heat that we're getting should be going into July. That's around carnival time, so be sure to take in your regular, what you should be taking in terms of water, so that you could keep rehydrated. And once you're hydrated, then your body, easier on the organs, your kidneys, etc. So be sure to do that. That's very, very, very important. Before I get into the program proper, well, as you know, see, for those who are watching on Facebook, you see me sport my shirt, Protect the Parky. Hey, that's Boston Celtics. Well, we didn't do too good over the last few days protecting the Parky. We're down 0-2. And some people blocking, so the man believe that Miami don't win the championship. I don't really understand how they figure that out. Free team, what time? Day 24. This game should be starting shortly. Free team will do so bad that we had back, we didn't even want nobody to see we back. But yeah, for all Boston Celtic fans out there, the thing, that's what you did sometimes. You have to test your mettle. See if you're ready for the big leagues or what. We're going on the road from tomorrow, so we'll see. We have to win those 2 games, or we have to win at least 1 out of the 2, so that we could bring it back onto the Parky. Strange enough, I'm not worried, to tell you the honest truth. I'm not feeling anxious or nothing. I believe that we have been shooting ourselves in the foot. You know what I mean? When it's not one thing, it's the next to get combination right, or taking too much trees instead of driving to the paint. But as I said, for some strange reason, I'm not scared or nothing at all. I still have confidence that we will raise banner 18 this year. I still feel confident in that, but it is all left for us to see how it turn out. You know what I mean? And as I was coming, my mind ran on this tune. I'm gonna play a bar or two for all the haters.
see when I attack to certain Calypsonian up and down in this island, spreading news around the town, trying hard to keep me down. As Calypsonian, the two of them can't make one. Talking about Big Belly Franco and one June Tennyson. For years they're going on stage, they can't make the pay for certain, they can't beat me.
No way.
On stage you see,
No way.
they can't compose,
No way.
they can't disclose. I'm a terrible man,
That's
I
right.
respect no one.
That's
Let
right.
me on the road,
That's
I
right.
carry the load. So when they're ready and want to fight me, I am ready, just like Freddy. I could beat them with no problem. I'll tell them,
Bully no have no friend.
Hey,
Hey, here you Blackie. Yeah man, bully no have no friend man. So I wanna worry about are you? Hey, let's go Boston.
now they're trying with large shot, trying hard to conquer me. By now they should realize that I'm the hardest enough to crack. I have the ingredients to give a good performance. So don't dig no feeling to beat me, they must complete. Before you sing all your calypso and scandalizing me, bring back with money please for Pepper Pot 1970.
Hey, you to the Brantic.
No way,
Yeah man, bully no have no friend.
no way,
I would done that long time.
no way. Can't disclose, I'm a terrible man.
That's
I
right.
respect no one.
That's
Let me
right.
on the road,
That's
I
right.
carry the load. So when they're ready and want to fight me, I am ready, just like Freddy. I could beat them, it's no problem. You'll tell them,
We don't have no friends.
Alright, that's there for the haters, you know what I mean? The haters. I don't know what thing going, you know what I mean? They want to see how get blown. But no worry, everything good. Well, what's going on there? Alright. Normally we would start out with the cabinet notes. As I said, Jablaki will not be here this evening. Normally he would, speak to his part in it. When I tuned in last Thursday, that's going to be the 18th. On the 18th, Max Hurst was conducting the press conference, the cabinet post press conference. So I didn't really tune in. As I said, I'm not listening to Max until he shows respect to Nikki. So I myself, I just tuned out. I think the same day, phone on for me. Okay, I see the same day that I think they had Parliament the same day, and we're going to be getting into some of that quite interesting stuff happening there. We've been hearing the discussions. First thing somebody asked me when I was coming in, you can deal with Asset Michael something tonight? I said, who knows how the program is going to go. Yeah, I mean, who knows how the program is going to go. So I really can't speak much to that. I'm not sure. If persons out there might want to speak to anything that might have been in the cabinet notes, you could give me a call on 462-1100. 462-1100. Somebody told me last week that I need to be watching the phones because they've been calling and not getting an answer. Yeah, based on the position, where my computer is set up and them kind of stuff, tend to miss me. That tend to miss me. I need to do better along the line. But feel free to give me a call on 462-1100, and we'll get the discussion going. I'm sure that as we go on in the program, some things that might have been in the cabinet press brief, the notes rather, that might probably come up as we go down. But I'm not. I really can't say nothing coming out of what came on ABS because I really didn't listen. So that's that. The Wednesday before that, I believe that the United Progressive Party presented to the Governor General some signatures. They had some petition going around in relation to I call it the Africa debacle, when some 6, 7, 800 Africans was foisted upon us, and then we know the situation with the government and that discussion that would have taken place, and we really have not gotten any independent information as to what would have happened. And as it is now, the mood of some people in the country, a sizable amount from what I can tell, is not really in the business of just accepting what government is saying because government says it. You know what I mean? So calls were and continue to be made to have a independent inquiry, independent investigation into what would have happened, to know exactly where we're going or what happened, and then we could know from then where we would have to go. Much has happened, and some people, I believe personally, is trying to sweep it under the carpet. We know that it's not only a problem for us here on Antigua, in that I remember when Nikki brought to the attention of Max or whoever was there at the time, when they were looking at percentages as to the medical challenges that some are having, how would that be dealt with? I believe somebody said persons will be working and contributing to medical benefits, but it seems to be that there is a little bit of an issue going on now at medical benefits. I had reason to go and collect a prescription for an elderly lady, and while I was there, I overheard some people talking, and there seems to be some challenges in relation to blood pressure tablets and some other prescriptions. I have not heard nor read anything official coming out of medical benefits. I don't know if I missed it. If there's anything out there that persons might want to forward to me, feel free. You can send it to me 464-4201. I'll share it with the people. But I have not heard nor seen anything. I haven't heard anything in the news in relation to what's happening there. But I know that there is that discussion ongoing, and from what I would have heard as I sat there waiting, it seemed as if it has been something that's going on for a while, from what I heard. So let's hope that sooner rather than later, we will hear something from medical benefits, because in the absence of information, then people are going to speculate. People are going to speculate. Is it that there's a money shortage at medical benefits? Why that is happening? Is it that the supply lines have been disrupted based on what's happening with COVID? Why that's happening? What is it? And from what I'm hearing, for persons who have to buy the medication that's not available at medical benefits, is quite expensive. It is true that I heard somebody told me that once the prescription, I believe, is stamped or something like that, and you purchase the medication, then you're refunded. I'm not sure if you're refunded in full. Somebody would have to tell me that, or what. I really can't say, but there's some level of refund, I'm understanding, that takes place there. Two things. Some people might not have that initial money to put forward to get the medication, so that's a challenge there. And I'm also learning that, at least from the Clay Hall clinic perspective, if the medication, if you take your thing there, there's no medication, you then have to journey into St. John's and get the thing stamped, get your prescription stamped at, get a prescription stamped at Navy Street. That's my understanding from what I've heard. Now, to me, maybe when they come out and they tell us something, I might change my mind, but to me, that seems to be ridiculous. Two things. What happens if you don't have transportation to go downtown? You have to get a bus. Second thing, most persons are trying to get out of St. John's for the combustion. You might have parking space, etc., etc. I don't know why is it that if you present the prescription at Browns Avenue, you present the prescription at Clay Hall, and the prescription, what you're presenting is not available, why can't the stamping be done at that particular clinic? I don't know if there's a reason. I don't know. But it would be nice to hear from medical benefit as to how that part is working. And I don't see the reason why it can't be stamped there. But maybe there's a good reason. I don't know. But as I said earlier, in the absence of information, then people will speculate. So I hope and trust that that medical benefit will give us some information there. But to go back to where I went before I got sidetracked with the one there, in terms of the signatures being presented to the Governor General in relation to this inquiry that some of us is looking to come about. I think I heard from on the news maybe a party of around 20 persons went to the Governor General, members of the UPP, members of the clergy. And you know what? Let me play something in relation to that. Where is that? Let me go here.
A team of approximately 10 persons, including some opposition members of parliament and senators, visited Government House this morning, armed with a petition aimed at prompting the Governor General to launch an inquiry into the West African migrant saga that has befallen Antigua. Hundreds of mostly Cameroonians remain in the country after arriving on charter flights over the past couple of months, and some have even died while on what has been deemed an illegal boat journey to a neighboring territory. Attorney Leon Chaku Semester, the United Progressive Party's spokesperson on legal affairs, told Observer that thousands of people have already indicated that they want the inquiry to clear the country's name.
And really it's an attempt to clear Antigua's name in what has become quite a regional and worldwide issue for Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda in some parts are now being looked at a place where transship persons who want to reach the United States, and there's some of the view that there is migrant smuggling or human trafficking taking place, and that is something we don't want our country's name to be associated with. And with the information we're getting and contradictory information from the government, that we think only a full public inquiry into this matter will set the record straight and let history record the people of Antigua and Barbuda as a people that when issues like these arise, that they stand up and ask that they be investigated. And that's all we're doing this morning.
The attorney went on to explain why he believes the inquiry is important.
It is important also that the families of those who lost their lives can have some kind of closure to what have happened. It is important also, Jackie, that we were told that Antigua and Barbuda has 20% share in Antigua Airways, and we were told that our 20% share represented 10 CIP files. Then later, we were told less than 6 months after the inaugural flight that Antigua Airways was defunct, to use the Prime Minister's word. Then we were told, Jackie, that we never gave them the files. There's just too many questions. Such transparent exercise helps strengthen our democracy. We also believe that if government officials are aware that if they're involved in wrongdoing that bring the name of Antigua and Barbuda into disgrace, that they may very well be exposed.
Questions have been raised about the potential cost of a commission of inquiry, particularly as the country is still grappling with the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. However, Semester says the UPP is even willing to help by raising funds to offset the cost of the endeavor if required.
That we know a commission of inquiry has a cost attached to it. And we know the government has consistently claimed it has no money. Well, we stand ready to raise funds to help finance such an inquiry if money is an issue. And we also stand ready to help identify persons, if the Governor General so chooses, to help draft the terms of reference for such inquiry. And of course, he's the one who would have to decide who the commissioners are.
Right, so that day was taken from the news, I think it might have been last Wednesday or Thursday, as to what would have taken place and what is the expectation of those who would have delivered the petition or the signatures to the Governor General. I guess we're in a waiting pattern now to see what happens. I would have listened earlier today to some utterances of the Prime Minister on his program, where he indicated that the Governor General would have secured legal advice from 2 attorneys, and based on those opinions, he will be indicating to the persons who presented the signatures or the petitions to him what's his position. So I guess we will have to wait and see what happens. But depending on what happens, what comes back from the Governor General, then that I believe will determine the next step as to where we as a people who wants to get to the bottom of this thing go. I'm reminded of some words from Bishop Charles Ward Brown years ago. I think it was during the UPP time when we were coming down to the elections and there was an extension beyond the time or something like that, where he said, civil disobedience might become the order of the day, and that is where people protest within the 4 corners of the law, express themselves as to where they see there might be some injustice that they want to be addressed. So I guess by next week sometime we'll hear what the Governor General's position is, and then after that I guess we'll begin to hear other discussions, and we'll know what happens from there. So let's just wait and see what happens there. But just so that the government know, it's not a 9-day talk situation. We know, well, as a matter of fact, right now, boy, we don't even know nothing. You don't know how many persons remain here. Haven't heard anything after the interim report that was put in by this UN body. You just don't know. I find that in an era where information is supposed to be forthcoming, it is getting harder and harder and harder to get some information. And it is clear, I said it a couple weeks ago, it is clear that what we hear from the post-cabinet press briefing is supposed to be the important issues that were discussed at cabinet, that we should be hearing. That's what we hear. Of course, you're not going to hear national security matters coming out of the cabinet meeting. That's just not going to happen. But other things outside of that, I don't know that the cabinet is running their private homes, or they're running a private business. They're running a country where they're representing people. But I find that is getting, well, I shouldn't say I find it getting harder and harder, because I would have suspected that persons might not have been as forthcoming as they ought to be, in my opinion. And that is coming through more and more. And if you just listen, you hear it, You hear it from time to time. We have to be mindful of that. And it has to be happening for a reason. It must be happening for a reason. Anyway, there was Parliament last Thursday, and quite some action on the day. But let me start from the early part of Parliament, where there's a section where questions is put to the Prime Minister, and some questions was put to the Prime Minister. A few of them jumped at me, and I decided that I was going to share them with the listeners tonight. And remember again, if you want to participate, the number here is 462-1100. 462-1100. Feel free to give me a call, and we will take it. We'll take the discussion, from there. I'm just trying to line up something as I'm talking here, giving me a little bit of a problem. All right. Yes. Well, a question was put to the Prime Minister by the Member of Parliament for the Rural West constituency. That is Mr. Richard Lewis. Is Lewis, right? Yes, Richard Lewis. And I kind of figured it was, well, let me not say. Let me put it. Let me play it, and then you'll hear both the question and the answer.
Mr. Speaker, can the Honorable Prime Minister tell this Honorable House, in addressing social dislocation issues, if his government has any plan to raise the threshold earnings per household to benefit from the PDV CAB program, People's Benefit Program?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you know, we have a number of social programs. The PV CAB program is not the only one. We have many. We have food vouchers. We have the long-standing program there. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But there are many. In fact, we did some research recently. I was talking to the Board of Guardian. That's the one I forgot just now. We did some research which confirmed that Antigua and Barbuda easily has perhaps the largest suite of social programs to address the issue of individuals with low income, inadequate income, those who may be unemployed. And we'll continue to do our best within the constraints of the financial resources. But I'm satisfied, Mr. Speaker, that we're doing all we can to address the issue of income inequality and those who may be temporarily unemployed or those who may be retired and do not have enough income.
All right, so I understand that to be saying, or I understood what the Prime Minister said to be basically what is happening now in terms of what government is doing now is what government can do. That's how I understood the answer. Good question, Richard, because you know with the challenges that we're having in the country, assistance to those who need it is paramount. I would have heard, you know, you just listen to the radio on any given day, and you hear persons questioning what's happening at the Board of Guardians, what's happening down at National Solid Waste. That discussion is just ongoing. So when I heard the question, I found it was a good question. So I said, let me hear what the answer was, and there you go. I felt it was important because you know you keep hearing. Well, if you depending on which camp you listen to, you hear one thing from one camp, next from the next. For me, I don't understand how I could be doing good, but at the same time I'm hungry. I don't understand that. That doesn't make no sense to me. But maybe other people understand that. But I found that to have been a good question, and that's the response from the Prime Minister. I want to encourage persons who are having challenges to not get frustrated and walk away. If you need to go and speak with the representatives of the different agencies to get assistance, still do it. Might be a time-consuming process, but it's best that you try to get the assistance than for you to go and do something that will probably not end up very good. So let me encourage that. Another question that was put to the Prime Minister, or there was another question I should say, that was put to the Prime Minister by Trevor Walker. That I kind of found, that's another question that I found interesting, where he was asking about, you know what, let me not say what he was asking about, let me play it. Let me play that for him, you know, you hear his question and the answer that was given. But before I play that, I remembered, might have been about maybe about 3 weeks to 4 weeks ago, right on his program, I had a discussion with Joe Blackie because he seems to be familiar with how Barbuda is set up. And I know I would have had some discussion with some persons on Barbuda when I heard it. Coming out of one of them posts, cabinet briefing, the question was put to Max Hurst. I think it was a gentleman from Observer. who had asked him. Let me play that, and then let me play the question that was put to the Prime Minister in Parliament last Thursday.
Going further into the notes, it also speaks about the principles of Dulcina Hotel requesting additional land space for their building of their hotels because of some issues. How much exactly land space did they request from the government?
The same number of acres that they lost when they had to move their hotel backwards from the high water mark. You understand? So they're not seeking to have additional land. This high water mark is meant to ensure that the hotel doesn't get destroyed in the event there are huge waves during a time of storms and other kinds of upset. So they push the hotel back, and so they say, well, listen, all of this is private land that was a part of ours. It's now going to serve a public purpose. Therefore, we want some more land in the back that measures exactly the same amount as the land in the front. And as they explained also, that they can't use the land in the front for their generators or staff housing or anything else, so they have to use the land in the back. So in this particular case, because the land in the back is readily available, consideration is being given to allow them to utilize the land in the back of them. I think it's about 80 acres or so.
The last part was what jumped at me. I think it's about 80 acres or so, he said. And I remembered saying to Jablaki and one or two Barbarians I call, I just didn't understand from a mathematical standpoint that if you are getting to the back, the same amount that would have been taken from the front because you were built too close to the sea. That was my understanding. I was wondering if there was 80 acres of land in the front, that you have to get 80 acres to the back. That's what I was thinking. And we had a discussion right here. Myself and Jablaki, as I said, Jablaki seemed to have some, he has a visual as to what's happening in Barbuda. I don't. So we were having that discussion here. And then the same question now was put to the Prime Minister by Mr. Trevor Walker. And let me play that and well, you'll hear the question and you'll hear the answer yourself. Yeah. Just before I go to that, I see somebody saying I understand that it's going on 2 months now for the young people who were newly employed by the government at Social Transformation without being paid. 2 months. Okay, I'll have to ask a question about that. WhatsApper. If anybody who is affected by that social transformation, you could send a WhatsApp or you could call 462-1100 or 464-4201 and let me know how accurate that situation is. But the question that was put to the Prime Minister is as follows.
Can the Honourable Prime Minister tell this Honourable House whether or not it is true that plans have been submitted to the department, to the Survey Department, for an additional 70 acres of land in Barbuda to be added to the Dulcina's lease, which is presently owned by his family-in-law?
Mr. Speaker, the project is now majority owned by some CIP Antiguans who would have invested sometime last year the first $30 million deposited in a domestic bank, and they're committed to building a luxury resort that will cost in the region of $150 million. Their environmental consultants have advised them that the Dulcina property would require a significant setback, and therefore the property needs some more depth to construct the hotel and the villas. And they approach the Cabinet for additional land with the understanding that they will go beyond the road and that they will have the obligation to first rebuild a concrete road with all of the underground conduits, electricity, telephone, etc. They have agreed to undertake to cover that cost, and the answer is yes, in order to facilitate the setback, because the land is so narrow that it will be difficult for them to construct without violating the setback from the the high water mark.
Play over that again.
Can the Honourable Prime Minister tell this Honourable House whether or not it is true that plans have been submitted to the department, to the Survey Department,
for an additional 70 acres of land in Barbuda to be added to the Dulcinea's lease, which is presently owned by his family-in-law.
Mr. Speaker, the project is now majority owned by some CIP Antiguans who would have invested sometime last year the first $30 million deposited in a domestic bank, and they are committed to building a luxury resort that will cost in the region of $150 million. Their environmental consultants have advised them that the Dulcinea property would require a significant setback, and therefore the property needs some more depth to construct the hotel and the village.
The property needs some more depth. Significant setback. Okay.
And they approach the cabinet for additional land with the understanding that they will go beyond the road and that they will have the obligation to first rebuild a concrete road with all of the underground conduits, electricity, telephone, etc. They have agreed to undertake to cover that cost. And the answer is yes, in order to facilitate the setback, because the land is so narrow that it will be difficult for them to construct without violating the setback from the, the high water mark.
Okay. Well, I'll wait to hear. Discussions further on that coming from the Barbudans and persons who are familiar. But again, as I said, mathematically to me, that's just. That's just. So let me hear. But when I heard it, the question, I remembered that the question was put to Maxer sometime. That was in March, 16th of March. That was put to Max, and then about April, about 2 months after. That's what we're hearing. People will be the judge, and those persons over there will know, and I'm sure we'll hear about it. It's quite interesting. Still in the parliament. We had some action, as everybody seems to be all excited about. I wasn't amused at all, because I believe that we expect, well, at least some of us expect a certain level of professionalism and decorum from the persons who we, let me reverse. We expect a certain level of professionalism, certain level of decorum, a certain level of class to be on display by the persons who we choose to represent us in Parliament. And yes, it is true that we're all human beings, but as the good book says, to whom much is given, much is expected. So I wasn't really amused at all with the performance of some persons, or with the behavior, I should say, of some persons in the Parliament on last Thursday. And I believe, it's my opinion, that the Speaker of the House lost control of the House bright and early. It started from the question and answer, not question and answer, questions to the Prime Minister portion, in my opinion. I believe the Speaker lost control of the House from there. And when it got down later into the day, when eventually Mr. Asad Michael felt he needed to come to his own defense, that, as far as I'm concerned, that started from early in the day. If a question is put to members in the House, they tell us, well, from what we hear of the standing order, somebody showed me a copy a few days ago. Today's what? Saturday, so it was yesterday? Yeah, last night. If questions are put to people, let's answer the question and move on. You know, they tell us certain language and not to be used in Parliament. Again, going to decorum. And for those of us who were listening, I mean, we would have cringed at some of what we would have heard coming out of Parliament in terms of the language that was being used. And if that is the best that we can put on display for not only Antiguans who are listening who are watching proceedings, but for persons who might be watching regionally and internationally, if that's the best that we can, if that is what represents the best of us here in Antigua, we have a big problem. We have a big problem. And persons who are listening know exactly what I'm saying. And as I get down to it, what needs to be said will be said. But it was just nasty, in my opinion. And as I said, I personally believe that the Speaker lost control of the House from then, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, then we would have seen the crescendo of things when eventually Mr. Michael was put out of Parliament and eventually suspended. That's something that we're going to be looking at just now too. But listening to the discussion and the cross talk and what was being said, I got to thinking, that certain things was being said to Asad Michael. Well, they're in Parliament, so there's certain privileges that they enjoy in Parliament that they would not say these things outside of Parliament where they don't have the protection. But it got me to thinking. When I heard certain things, it got me to thinking. And, sometimes they say when you point a finger at somebody, it's four of them pointing back at you. And I went looking for some recordings based on what I would have heard. And let me start with this one here.
I spoke to my lawyer this morning. I spoke to Sir James Guthrie and Elliot, and they told me that I told Robin that we needed to meet. But I want to get some clear undertakings. I mean, we can't just do business as usual. And I asked Robin to come because I want Robin and Lester. Me and you have met privately before, and I want Robin to be able to be a third party. So in case anything, that Robin can verify that he knows the facts. Yes. Although he have not been in it over the years, he needs to know because it didn't come out anyhow. And I got the agreements so that Robin could see them, so Robin could know that they exist. This is the first agreement here with Silicone. This is the one with the same agreement with Silicone for the 2 cents and the 5 cents that Rappaport was paying over the years that Ron Saunders had signed with Rappaport. That was his company for the 25 years. Now, Ron Saunders had asked me to destroy that document. I did not destroy it, and I have my reasons for not destroying it. Ron Saunders is already gone, Robin, and they've cut a deal with the government. What I'm saying to you all is very serious. And this money, as you know, Ron Saunders used to collect it, used to wire it to your account directly, and you were like a fool, you didn't even form a company. And Lester used to let the money go into Thames View here at Swiss American Bank and make me sign on the account and withdraw money for him. You didn't even form an offshore company, and the money used to go directly from Ron Saunders' company, Silicone, to your company.
Who is WJ Joe? Yes, power of attorney?
That was a power of attorney to Rappaport.
Yeah.
You represented Rappaport.
No.
You represented Ron Saunders' company, Ron Saunders' company.
Right.
But this was the company, Silicone, that Ron Saunders had set up to send you all the money when he used to send, I think, 10,000 US at the beginning. And I think he'll increase it to 12,000 US. And Robin, I think, used to get 10,000, you used to get 12, and Ron Saunders used to get 12,000 US a month.
Who's George?
Jones is a power of attorney that is a power of attorney for Warren Saunders. He died. You know him, right?
He died. I didn't know him, but he died.
But Warren told me that.
But there's no agreement between Western Israel Company and APU.
Huh?
There's no agreement between Western Israel.
No, but Warren Saunders represented that there was agreement between Western Israel Company and APU.
It's in the Encouragement Act.
Yeah, but he set up that company, Robin, to send you all the kickbacks, the money, every single month, so that it will go to your account and the Leicester account. You have to come to Thamesview here. Remember, Leicester used to sign the checks on Thamesview. At Swiss American Bank, Leicester?
Yes.
And then he used to send it to you every month. After, when I was in England, he came to me as a law student and he asked me if I would take over Thamesview from Leicester and not let Leicester be the power of attorney no more on the account, and if I would sign the checks. And remember that you had to remove yourself. Don Waters set it up for you at Swiss American Bank, and you had to remove yourself as a signature and put me on it. Am I correct, Leicester? Leicester, I used to sign checks every month, pay all the bills and everything. Yeah. From Thamesview. I just want to get all that straight. Alright, that is silicone, that is for the 2 cents, and then the 5 cents for every gallon of gas that they pay for.
2 cents, it's 2 cents, it's 3 cents. 3 cents, yeah. 3 cents.
I thought it was 2 cents and then increased to 5. So maybe it's 3 and then increase it to, 3 and then increase to 5. An additional 2 cents. It says Western Israel Company shall pay to Silicone into a bank account designated by Silicone on a monthly basis for a period of 6 years and 3 months, 75 months from the date of the signature of this agreement, an additional sum of 2 cents US on a gallon, every gallon, so it went to 5 cents, of oil related to products bought by 8 years. That's on 17th day of December 1996. No. But that's when he finalized it, but you all were getting the money for many years before that, which was less than the 5 cents.
So which one?
No, that is Silicone, that is to do with Western Israel Company. You know about that.
Yes. So what's the consideration for the contract? He's given this, but they agreed to do this.
They said Silicone had negotiated an agreement with APUA, and that was a consideration, and there was no agreement between.
But we know that, Robin, that was a bullshit front that Ron Saunders did to have an agreement officially with Rabbi. So you pay the money, but there was no agreement between Western Israel and APU and Silicone. There was absolutely no agreement between Western Israel Company and Silicone. But Ron Saunders did that to make sure that the money would go into your account every month.
Did it go to Ron first?
Went to Silicone.
And Ron is the one who stopped that.
Ron would then send it to your account in Swiss American Bank. And then he would send it to Robin's account straight in wherever Robin had in England. And then after you took off your name from Thamesview and you put my name as the signatory list, here in Antigua. Am I correct?
I think so. On Thamesview.
Thamesview was here at Swiss American Bank.
I did one now.
Then this is the one that Robin doesn't know anything about Leicester, and Leicester have to be honest and straight. I mean, the time has come we can't play any games because you have given Rickard the impression, Joey the impression, John Fuller the impression that you didn't get no money. That you don't know nothing about this thing with Bellwood, and you didn't get no money. And Rickard told them. Rickard said that
Rickard can't do that.
Anyway, I want Robin to see the agreement. I want you to see the agreement. This was done in 1996.
All right, so while I was listening to what was happening in Parliament and words just flying here, there, and everywhere, I might run back on that recording. That's a recording that has been in circulation for years around here, and you would have heard the names that are being called, and with the exception of Celeste Bird, who would have passed, I think everybody else there is alive. Now would be a good time to question everybody as far as I'm concerned. If you know, going from what we would have heard in Parliament, we still have the time now. So, you know what I mean, if they're saying that investigations and questions and people can be questioned, etc., why not question everybody? Why not question everybody and see where the chips fall? That would be interesting for the people of Antigua and Barbuda to witness, I would believe. So, you know, just putting that over there. Just putting that over there.
Honorable members, I wish to name the member for St. Peter.
What you like.
Don't take him out yet. I wish to name
Prime Minister impute proper motives to me and said about UK crime agency 3 times.
the member for St. Peter for what he has just mentioned, the abuse of the chair, and I ask that he be named and that the Parliament decide what should be the suspension, whether A, he should be suspended, and if so, how much. On the first occasion, I think it's for 3 meetings. Please. It's now in the hands of the first occasion is 3 meetings. 3 consecutive meetings.
Now, Jerry, what the people of St. Peter voted for me. They did not vote for you.
Members of the
85, you should
government.
retire.
Members of
Let
the
a younger
government.
person take up the speaker seat. The bias. Prime Minister, you didn't proper motive to me. You heard them. Provoking me all day. Don't put your hand down.
If, officer, if he doesn't leave, you put him out.
Absolutely.
Who behaves yourself? Who knows? Who try to get money already, you know? And then one without license, you can vote. Remember that? 25 years ago. And it was scared.
The day you would run down there, what is the day that run? Get him out of here. No. Members of the House, I've put a matter before you. I expect the action to be taken. What is the action? This cannot be tolerated. Suspension for 3 meetings. That is the rule. For the first offense, 3 meetings. Is that the will in our House? Shall the member be suspended for 3 consecutive meetings? All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it, and the member for St. Peter is suspended from this House and from the Parliament.
All right, so that there was what happened yesterday, and that recording is coming from the ABS feed that went out with Parliament. So persons can double check it against that feed, and they will see that's where that recording came from, because I hear there's all kind of recordings all over the place. So let me just say where that recording is coming from. I'm going to play it again, and having played that, I'm then going to play that happened on Thursday, and then on Friday the chairman of the UPP was on the morning program, the Observer Morning Observer AM, I think the name of the program is, on the Friday. And the question was put to her as to her thoughts on that, and she gave her opinion. Normally, whenever I have any kind of lotting and that kind of stuff, I lean heavily on Mr. Pompey. I'm going to see if I can give Mr. Pompey a call to see whether or not he can break it down to layman language for us, those who are not that legal, and then we will take it from there. So let me go again with what happened in Parliament, and if you notice, the recording was from when the Speaker stood, having already indicated to the Sergeant of Arms that Mr. Michael should be taken out, or should have left should have exited, and then as Assad kept speaking, then things developed for that. So listen good, because we're going to come back to that particular recording. Some questions that I think I have in my mind that I want to put to Mr. Pompey. So I'm hoping that I can reach him today. I'm on Saturday night and everything. So I'm hoping to go and dance. So here we go.
Honorable members, I wish to name the member for St. Peter. Don't take him out yet. I wish to name
Prime Minister, you promoted to me and said about UK Crime Agency 3 times.
The member for St. Peter, for what he has just mentioned, the abuse of the chair, and I ask that he be named and that the Parliament decide what should be the suspension, whether A, he should be suspended, and if so, how much. On the first occasion, I think it's for 3 meetings. Please. It's now in the hands of the first occasion is 3 meetings. 3 consecutive meetings.
Now, Jerry, what the people of St. Peter voted for me. They did not vote for you.
Members
85, you should retire.
Members of
let the younger person take up the speaker seat. The bias. Prime Minister, you did proper voted for me. You heard him. Provoking me all day.
If, officer, if he doesn't leave, you put him out.
Absolutely.
The day you would run down there, what is the day that run? Get him out of here. No. Members of the House, I've put a matter before you. I expect the action to be taken. What is the action? This cannot be tolerated. Suspension for 3 meetings. That is the rule. For the first offense, 3 meetings. Is that the will in our House? Shall the member be suspended for 3 consecutive meetings? All in favor say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it, and the member for St. Peter is suspended from this House and from the Parliament.
All right, so that there, everybody would have heard for themselves. So let me now go to the question I will put to the former Speaker of the House, President, is it Chairman or President? Chairman or President of the UPP, as to what her thoughts were of that.
We're going to start with the ejection from the House of Representatives and from the Parliament as well of MP Asot Michael and the action of the Speaker in naming him yesterday. Your thoughts?
Doc, fortunately I was watching the entire proceedings, practically the entire proceedings yesterday, and I was amazed and not happy at all at the provocation that MP Asot Michael had to go through, undergo, put up with. And I noted the many times that he had to appeal to the Speaker, in particular for him to rein in the Prime Minister, who really could not and would not be reined in. And I was not surprised that it ended that way, because even the Bible warns you against provocation, and anybody can only take so much. And so I think that MP Michael had had enough, and at that point said, excuse me, to hell with it. And so it ended that way. But he put up with a lot yesterday. And I'm saying this because I sat in the chair for 10 years and went through 5 years plus of the worst behavior possible from the Prime Minister. So I know what it is to sit in the chair and have to be referee and have to pour oil in troubled waters and that kind of thing. And I think that the protection that he was entitled to, he did not get. And in one instance, he was actually prevented from speaking.
Yes.
The Speaker was speaking to him, interrupted him, and he sat down too, as he should have, to listen to the Speaker. And then when Sir Jerry was finished speaking, he just moved on and acknowledged somebody else. And MP Michael actually said to him, but I'm not finished. I sat down to allow you to speak, and, I'm not finished. And, he, like an overbearing schoolmaster, he just, went roughshod over the man and called an MP Sheffield Boyne. And some things that the Prime Minister was saying yesterday, particularly when MP Michael was speaking, were just uncalled for, were just parliamentary language. Well, he goaded him. He kept making references to the matter that, what was it, like 2017 or someplace there? When the MP was questioned in London.
In the UK, yes.
Yes. And at one point he was threatened by Cutie Benjamin, warning him not to wake a sleeping lion or else. I just thought the whole thing was an exercise in intimidation that ought not to have happened. And I've said all the time that the job of the Speaker is to protect the minority because the majority will always have it. The ayes have it.
Right.
And MP Michael did not get the protection that he deserved. And in particular, when he was shut down and shut out, I was more than annoyed because I am a constituent of St. Peter. And even though I did not vote for Asset Michael, he is my representative. And if he's to have no voice in Parliament, then 2,000 people are going to be disenfranchised, those who voted for him, and the rest of the constituency will be disenfranchised. Only last week or earlier this week it was that there was a standoff in Parham at the clinic, and people were saying the clinic was being kept in that fashion and ignored because St. Peter had not voted for the Antigua Labour Party, and this is the kind of victimization the constituency can expect for the next 5 years. So there's a conspiracy as far as I'm concerned for both the Prime Minister and the Speaker to keep their knee on the neck of MP Michael, and it is unfair to the constituents, and it is unfair to him because he is an elected representative.
Right.
Mr. Jackie, you were there for the 10 years that I was there, and you know the conduct that the Prime Minister used to put down in that house.
Despicable. Despicable.
More than despicable. And nobody can accuse MP Michael of behaving like that. So what happened last night was totally uncharacteristic of him, but he was goaded and he was provoked, and it is unfortunate that it came to that, because now he has been suspended for the next 3 sittings. So again, St. Peter will have no representation in the House.
My contention with this, though, is that the Speaker spoke about crosstalk. Didn't he hear any crosstalk coming from the other side? I'm just wondering what happened.
Because when he made this decree, he'd had enough, and he was not going to, allow anybody to say anything else or whatever. I could hear the Prime Minister. I could hear him.
It was very plain.
Constitution and whatever. I remember at one point when I think it was when he spoke about the prostitution bill. I heard the Prime Minister calling him a thief, calling Asset Michael a thief. And then, of course, this is on parliamentary language. This is imputing improper motives. It was just overbearing and uncalled for and unfortunate. And I think it was orchestrated. The Prime Minister was so enjoying himself. He looked so smug. Even on those occasions when the Speaker said to him, you need to withdraw. It was a song and dance. It was like step and fetch it before he could get to saying, I withdraw. And then it was so insincere. It was terrible. It really was terrible. And I'm saying this both as somebody who sat in the chair and who is a constituent.
Did the opposition vote on MP Michael's ejection? Because I think it happened so quickly. I'm not sure that I heard anything from the opposition.
Anything happen faster. I didn't even hear anything from the government side. It was the Speaker at one point saying to them in very irritated fashion, I put something before you. When he said this, he was looking at the government bench, not at the opposition. So he was not considering the House. He was depending on the government side to eject MP Michael. Several people that I spoke to yesterday asked about the voting options, because it's a matter of those in favor say aye, those against no, the ayes have it. No pause. There's absolutely no time for anybody to even say no. It's just one sentence.
Did the MPs, the government MPs say aye? Because I'm not sure if I heard that, or if he just went straight.
I have to assume that they said aye because it went so swiftly, so very swiftly. And, you know, he was the one basically quoting them saying the penalty is 3 months, absence of 3 sittings. You know, things are done differently now than when we sat in Parliament. Because really and truly, the penalties used to be decided upon by the House in those days. I suppose
there's some revision. There's been some revision of the standing orders, and so perhaps we need to get up to speed in terms of whether there's been. Okay,
I have the standing orders, but the fact is, certain things are the privilege of the House, not the Speaker. When you move a motion to have somebody suspended and so on. At one point, I heard MP Michael asking for extra time, and the Speaker seemed surprised that he was doing that. But anybody, any member of the House can move a motion asking for anything. So,
right. So the starting point is always 3 consecutive sittings. I'm not aware of that because I think that is what the Speaker put to the House.
That's what it is now. It wasn't then. But as I said, he was not looking for the opposition yesterday to say anything at any time, to vote at any time. The only time that we actually heard from the opposition in terms of vote is when MP Marvin Joseph asked for a division on the acquisition of the cancer center. And then, of course, they were called one by one and they gave their vote.
Okay.
But other than that, as I said, it's a matter of those in favor say aye, those against say no, the ayes have it. You don't even get a chance to abstain. That option was not even put. And as far as I know, unless there's a division when you can actually count the votes, you can't even say the ayes have it. You will remember that I always said, I think the ayes have it. Because it's a chorus of voices, it's not a count.
Right.
So you don't even know if the ayes actually have it. Because there's no count. You're just assuming based on what you hear. Things have changed, that's all I can say, and not for the better.
All right, so that there was the chairperson of the United Progressive Party and the former Speaker of the House. I think she was the one before Sir Gerald Watt. Yes, I think so. Former Speaker of the House, sharing her opinion on what she observed, watching the proceedings also on television. As I said, I'm going to try to see if I could reach Mr. Pompey, see if he can bring any, share his opinion with us as to, he's more versed in the law and that kind of stuff. So bear with me. I will be right back.
Escape by the skin of your teeth. In 5 years you lose 3 seats. The voter verdict now official was too much business as usual. Many claim they don't see difference. The 2 parties is the same. They now have evidence. It's only change of color and name. And they want to run, but they have to stay. Back to bird is no kind of plan. So they're glad, real glad that the PM say business as usual is not an option. Stop the business as usual, man the thief into clear. Too much business as usual, party now full of millionaire. Some is full-time and barren, 5 years ago didn't have a cent. Now they drive in the biggest Nissan and have an apartment on rent. But I know they hear what the voters say. Cause Baldwin repeated the other day, and I know repeating it in song. Business as usual is not an option. Changes must be substantial. Business as usual is not optional. Number Jackie will not be done. Business as usual is not an option.
All right, let me see if I have Mr. Pompey on the line. Good night, sir.
Yes, good evening, Beef, and good evening to your listeners.
Okay, boy, I'm proud of myself. I'm just learning the telephone system now.
Oh, are you getting there?
Yes. Just
give me a second, please.
Sure. In the meantime, let me go here.
Yes, I'm back with you.
All right. How are you doing, sir?
I am very well, thank you. I am doing, you're not going to believe, I am doing a commentary.
Okay. Yes,
for social media.
Okay.
And it is titled Horrors in the Society.
Horrors in the Society.
Yes.
You want to give us a little preview? Just roughly what you're covering, and just a snippet. Oh, if you don't, it's all right. It's all right.
No, I can say.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to read one short paragraph to you and your listeners.
Sure.
But you'll bear with me because where I am not near to the computer.
Okay.
So I have to shift phones.
I got you.
Okay, 1 second.
No problem. Bam. Let me go back over to here. You're listening to 97.1 ZDK, Liberty Radio. Dave B. Joseph here in the house, and Real Talk is in full cry. Gonna have a little chat just now with Mr. Pumpy. One people lost the call, they just know me hear something click. You see, I was hearing a scratching. I'm not sure. Oh, it's still there.
Yes, I am with you now.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
And I didn't want to say this too early, really. But let me give you the full title. Legislative Robbery. Horrors in Society. I need to repeat it for the benefit of your listeners.
Yes, sir.
Legislative Robbery. Horrors in Society. And let me give you this paragraph, so you will see where I'm going with that one.
Go ahead.
When thieves and robbers deprive the innocent and helpless people of their property, police under compulsion appeared on national telly. That means television. Their purpose was to give assurance to a frightened and fearful citizenry. When rapists in broad daylight, with boldness and impunity, allegedly raped a young, defenseless female of her dignity, swift denouncement came from Commissioner Atlee Rodney. Well, you can read this on the news, because this is where I got where he made the denouncement against that kind of act. Now, when gunmen shot and wounded a male police officer just below the knee, he was reportedly left incapacitated and in pain and agony. You remember that shooting at
Rhodey King?
Rhodey King, yes, good.
Yes.
And though there was no grief, sorrow, and funeral, all that was reportedly wished to the non-life-threatening injured officer was a speedy recovery. I can't give you more. You'd have to read it tomorrow, hopefully, on one of the news websites. So let's go right ahead, Beef.
All right. I'm not sure whether you were following what happened in Parliament on last Thursday. It was, that's the topic of discussion now. MP Asad Michael have been suspended for 3 sittings, is my understanding.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you were listening, if you were following, and I just want, I lean on you when it comes to them kind of things, so I just wanted to hear your opinion on it.
Well, I really don't like to give opinion. I give facts.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
No, I did not listen to the debate, and I did not have to listen to the debate to know what happened. But I can say without contradiction that the member, Asset Michael, was rude and disrespectful to the chair. I can say too that the House Speaker did what he had to do. But let me go on further. Two wrongs could never make a right. The House Speaker started out with removal of a disorderly member from the House and gave orders to the Sergeant at Arms to eject the member. Well, the Sergeant at Arms obeyed, because I saw from the video, little video I saw, where he got up and went to the member. Now, he can't physically hold the member and throw him out. Cannot. But what would happen, and I'm speaking now from my own practical experience as a Sergeant at Arms with a deceased House Speaker named Mr. Casford Murray. That name ring a bell to you?
Yes, I've heard Mr. Murray.
And I also was there with Dame Bridget Harris. So I am no rabbit, and I'm not guessing of anything. I will come back to what transpired there. But let me tell you what happened. My instructions from those two stern, tough House Speakers were these. And I still have my two, you won't believe it, I still have my two old standing orders here from those days. One for the Senate and one for the House of Representatives. They are basically saying the same thing. Now, my instruction there are only three powerful people in His Majesty's Parliament. It's not Antigua Parliament. His Majesty's Parliament. And every member you see admitted there, including the House Speaker and the Senate President, they have to take an oath of allegiance. Are we having an understanding on this up to this point?
Yes, we are.
Otherwise, they cannot go in there. Not asking you. So when they take that oath of allegiance, it has nothing to do with their oath of office, because you might not be a government minister. But you're bound by the Constitution to take that oath, that you will pledge allegiance. At that time, it was to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Now, whoever enters there now would be His Majesty King Charles III. That is how it works. But the instruction they gave me is that if the parliamentarians begin to fight, showing microphone, showing chairs at one another, that is not the Sergeant at Arms business. They can fight until they kill one another. The Sergeant at Arms business is to protect the mace. You see that thing that put in front of them?
Yes.
To protect that. And if they throw anything at the mace, or they try to take the mace, the sergeant has to die holding on to that mace. Just like the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister goes somewhere, his bodyguards, Mr. Daly and O'Neill, if anybody attack firing bullet, they have to take the bullet. That's the training I have with the British, the Americans, and the Canadians when it comes to what we call VIP protection. But let me get back to the Parliament. So while they are fighting inside there, your duty is to protect the king. The mace is the king. And if you can get to save the Speaker or the President, You do that, but your duty is not to concentrate on them. Because if they kill the speaker, and I'm not saying they should do that here. I am not saying that. So no one should go out there and say that they should kill the speaker. I'm not saying that. But if the speaker should die, or the Senate president should die, they can be replaced. If they go with the mist and throw it in the sea where you can't get it, there can be no parliament. Are we clear on that point?
I thought we would have just got another mist.
But that wouldn't come immediately.
Okay.
Okay? That wouldn't come immediately. So you have to hold on to that with your life. Your life is dependent, and it's the king. That is the symbol of authority inside there. You would see when they're going to start parliament, the sergeant that lead that inside there is not the speaker going in front. You watch tomorrow. You watch next week when the Senate would meet, because the Senate bound to meet before the 7th of June, 2023, with the same contentious and controversial act. Now, I'm not dealing with what developed there. I'm giving you and your listeners a good understanding from my knowledge of the Parliament and the procedures in there. The Speaker will, and he has the responsibility for order. You would have heard of the Digitalized Act, the Digitalized Act. You would have also heard of Senate President Dame Hazen Francis and whoever were before. You would have heard of them. They will tell you, apart from securing the mace, if you can't manage, you will call upon Her Majesty's Armed Forces, not Mr. Rodney. Mr. Rodney don't have no say in it. No commissioner have no say in that. And who are what are the magistrate, His Majesty now, Armed Forces? The Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Because we do not have an army here, you call on the Defense Force Commander. His duty is to consult the King's representative, that is the Governor General, and he too has a duty to protect the Parliament, and he too must give orders to the Chief of Defense, Colonel Benjamin, is it Colonel Benjamin, to send people down there to quell whatever is happening in the Parliament. And if he...
Not to cut you across.
Sure.
I don't normally see a defense force detail at Parliament.
No, well, they will not go there unless it's trouble. But if you notice, when they're opening Parliament, they have to be there. They lead it because it's their Parliament. That's the King's Parliament. You recall some time ago when there was some ruction between a former Governor General and the House Speaker regarding the OECS. They had.
Yes.
The thing. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember.
And you remember, the GG was so tough, decided that no soldier must attend the opening. You remember that?
Yes.
No, well, I have to commend Dame Louise Lake Tack. You cannot have certain people pushing you around, dictating for you. No, it's one of two things. It's either they keep you there or they send you home.
You know, a lot of people in Antigua not like that.
Well, all right. So I am only showing you when things like that happen. But come back to the Parliament now. the member, Mr. Michael, the little I saw, he was really not aggressive, but he could have tempered his language a little different. But that, when the House Speaker gave the ejection order, I expected, even before he gave that order, I expected the members of the House, both opposition and the governing party, somebody should have gotten up and moved a point of order. But from what I saw in the video, they didn't do that. Not one of them did that. Obviously, they did not know the standing order.
I was about to ask that.
I
was about to ask that.
I have spoken, I can't call the names, but they said they didn't even know.
But I have, if you listen to the recording good enough,
yes,
you would hear, how do I put it? Let me not call the name either, but you would hear high-ranking members in the government talking among themselves and asking of the speaker what should happen.
All right, and that is recklessness for them not to know. And let me tell you, and they can quote me anytime. I'm not afraid if they quote me anytime. Not afraid at all. Let me tell you what happened. I am not blaming the non-legal people, those who don't have a legal background. Are we clear on that point?
You're talking in terms of members of the parliament?
Yes, Parliament. I'm dealing with Parliament. That is what this thing is all about. You asked me to speak about.
I just want to be sure.
Right? The only person who is excused with a legal background is Maria Brown, the member. That is the only person. But from the Attorney General, my good friend, Mr. Steadroy Cutie Benjamin, and we have good communication. Up to today I talk with him, I must tell you. I'm no hypocrite. You have Samantha Marshall, if she was there. No, she's in the Senate.
She's in the Senate.
She's in the Senate. Who is the other legal person in it? Because I don't follow politics. Politics is not my line.
I'm trying to see.
But
Well,
anyway,
the speaker himself is a legal person.
Right, the speaker and the Attorney General are the leading.
Sherfield Boyne is a legal person.
Right. Well, Sherfield Boyne, he should know, and he's reckless not to know.
I'm trying to think if he was in
right?
Parliament.
Because if I'm going to tell you something, I don't have it before me, but I know it sufficiently to tell you. If you have the standing order, which is the House Standing Order 2020, I can direct you to a section 5050. You have access to it there?
I have it up, yes.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to subsection 7. As I say, I don't have it before me, but I know it sufficiently. I don't have to look at anything.
Suspension from the service of the House.
Yes. Well, I would want you to read it to the benefit of your listeners, and I will explain something after that.
Suspension from the service of the House, subsection 7. If on any occasion the Speaker considers that his powers under the previous provision of the standing order is inadequate, the Speaker may name such member under the standing order by mentioning the name of the member concerned. In such circumstances, the procedure prescribed in the next succeeding paragraph shall be followed. The Speaker shall mention the member by name. Immediately following the naming, a member shall move a motion that Mr., Mrs., Miss, whoever, be suspended from the services of the House. The Speaker shall put the question that be suspended from the House or from the service of the House. This question must be resolved without amendment, adjournment, or debate. If the offense has been committed in the committee of the whole House, the chairman shall immediately suspend the proceedings of the committee, resume the House, and report the circumstances and the procedure provided for the preceding paragraphs of this standing order shall be followed, and the member so named must immediately leave the chamber and its precincts and shall stand suspended from the service of the House.
All right. All that is simply saying to you, and I will show you the kung fu Sir Gerald used on them. You recall you have read a part there with the word shall.
Yes.
That is mandatory. And to make sense of it, if you watch the video, you recall at the time the speaker gave the order for Mr. Michael to leave, not even the Attorney General was bothered. You notice he said, I shall continue.
Yes.
Remember, there was a little crosstalk between himself and Mr. Michael.
That's correct.
Right? But the Attorney General didn't want any blood, any animosity, any acrimony. And the whole House did not also want that to happen. So you would have heard some 2 or 3 times the House Speaker beseeching on them, begging them, urging them to do something.
Correct.
Those speakers don't behave so. And then the Speaker told while the Attorney General was standing, told the sergeant that get him out and you can even go and get help. He couldn't call Mr. Rodney because that's Mr. Rodney's business to send help to him.
Well,
I explained what he must do.
Okay.
Call the defense force people. Now, the kung fu that they did not realize, and I'm going to read from the old standing order that I have here, because the Speaker got them to agree to those standing order that as soon as he said anything put to them, they shall. Let me read this for you now. You see where I'm coming from. If a member shows disregard for the authority of the chair or abuses these standing orders by persistently and willfully obstructing the business of the House, the Speaker shall direct the attention of the House on the incident, mentioning by name the member concerned. Here the difference between the shall you have there now and what I'm going to read here. Because the Speaker can't direct them what to do. Cannot direct them what to do. They are guided by the law, which is the standing order rules. But they didn't do that. That's why the Speaker had to be begging them, because they did not know the rules themselves. Let me read this for you. A motion may then be made upon which the Speaker shall forthwith put the question with no amendments, no adjournments, and no debate. The same language you have there. But instead of them using their discretion, the Speaker, when he helped them draft the law, took away that discretion from them and made it mandatory that they shall move a motion. Do I need to go back over that for the benefit of understanding?
Yes, I would appreciate it.
In the original standing order, the members, the elected members, the people who elected their representatives to go there and represent them. Although sometimes you see a little difference here, where when you get inside there, the people on whose side you are believe you're there to represent party. You're not there to represent no party. But again, it's dangerous because if you're not towing your line and you're a minister, they will take away your position and make you a
backbencher. It's not dangerous, man. You just have to have principle. It's not dangerous at all. You just have to have principle.
Well, that is true. That is true. Then one man will get too many portfolios.
No, you can't give them all. If they can do everything, give them all.
Right. So, let me get back to this. When you remove the discretionary power. And and I'm going to be repetitive here, the members of the House on both sides did not move no motion.
Okay, before you get to that, Mr. Pompey,
sure.
I want to reverse a bit because this program is Real Talk, right? And I have said earlier that I noticed.
So you were on earlier? I wasn't.
No, well, I started at 8 o'clock.
Oh.
But I had said in my dissertation earlier tonight, and to my friends close to me, I've said to them that I am seeing a situation in Antigua now where politicians, in seeking to get things done, they almost try to do things a shortcut way, right? Which is not necessarily the legal way to go about it. I have noticed that. And it is bothering me because if that continues, it means that we are no longer going to be a country run by laws. And there seems to be some civil servants who occupy some positions that they're so weak that they know somebody's telling them to do something that's not legal or that they have a different opinion on in their discretion, and they will not stand up for whatever the reason. No, the reason why I'm saying that is this. When these new standing orders were being put together,
yes,
if my memory serves me correct, and I don't think I'm wrong, somebody, if I'm wrong, call me at 462-1100. A subcommittee was put together. And as far as I can remember, that subcommittee included members of the opposition and members of the government, along with the speaker. Now, am I to understand? Okay, let me reverse. What I believe would happen is that this subcommittee would meet, they would come up with drafts, etc. Persons who represent both parties would be having discussion with their parties in relation to, hey, this is where we're going. Take some advice. At the end of the day, come down to the final thing that is brought to Parliament and is passed. How can we have a government in power in 2023, or in a government in power in 2023, at guiding the affairs of this country, and then another standing orders?
Well, Beef, you better believe it. I believe they didn't remember. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Me could talk it real. Because I heard, I have the recording, you know. I heard what they were saying on the tone.
Yes.
I heard what they were saying on the tone. And I'm talking about both sides. Because if I, who not smart as them, no. Wait. So who moved the motion to suspend the member? Who?
Nobody moved any motion.
And then who seconded that motion that was not moved?
Nobody did that.
So then how could the member be suspended?
Well, sometimes, listen, let me put it this way, Beef, because I want your listeners to understand.
You know, this is a joke.
Now, I don't know what recourse Mr. Asad Michael has, and he can't have any at the High Court of Justice. That I do know.
Me no go back to Parliament.
Well, I don't know if he could get support and put a motion or he can't go back there. No, he cannot go back there. He's suspended. Right
but
there, wrong.
But how could he be suspended if the procedure is wrong?
Beef, listen to me. Listen to me. Let me show you something. You recall a gentleman was on remand at Her Majesty's prison on a rape charge?
Rape charge.
You recall an attorney at law, the hottest criminal lawyer, Wendell Robinson, filed for judicial review? You recall the High Court judge ordered the man released? The judge couldn't quash the charge. The judge couldn't do that. But the man would have been in jail unlawfully. Why? Because when the police filed the charge against them, they had no power to do so.
All right. So we're talking about what they went to Parliament to validate.
Right. Well, and it's not validated. And I'm not going to be no hypocrite to tell you who I shared it with. Okay? But I don't think I should really tell the public I shared it with. And let me read it so that they will see where I'm coming from, and I will explain to them. I am going to look at the Police Act. This is where the trouble starts, the Police Act, and not all those talking and those fighting you're hearing in Parliament. It's not that. What they did here, the general duties of the police force. Before I came in this organization as a constable, right up until I sat in the chair of the Commissioner of Police. And you can't be an idiot to be in that position and don't know your duties. And for the benefit of your listeners, those who would have an interest, they could look at sections 22 and 23.
Chapter, what is it again?
330.
330. And we're looking at what?
We are looking at section 23. And I'm going to ask you to read it because I know it. I don't have to look at it to read it.
And I want to read it too because I want the people who are listening to understand exactly what's happening. You know, that's what Real Talk is about.
Oh,
General duties of the force, 23. 1. It shall be the duty of all police officers, A, to preserve the peace and prevent and detect crimes and other infractions of the law. B, to apprehend and bring before magistrate persons found committing any offense, rendering them liable to arrest without warrant, or whom they may reasonably suspect of having committed any such offense, or
okay,
who may...
Don't go down to that other part.
Okay.
All right, because I need to explain that to you.
Okay.
But what I would tell you to do is to turn over that page and go to subsection C.
Subsection C of 23.
Yes.
To apprehend smugglers.
No. C. Go over on the other page. Go on page 16.
Page 16, C.
It's right there.
I don't see a C on my...
You have to see a C. Well, let me read it for the benefit of
go
your
ahead.
listeners. Remember, you use a word to apprehend?
Yes.
There are only two ways the police can take me and you to court. But I find in recent time the police have been abusing the arrest procedure. I find so. I am not hiding to say that. I was there. That was then. But let me read what the law says here. C. To summons before a magistrate and to prosecute persons for committing any offense.
Is C or E?
E, yes.
E. Right, it's E, right.
Right.
Yes, to summons before a magistrate and to prosecute persons found committing any offense, right.
So you notice the two things I refer to. One, you apprehend people.
Yes.
When you actually see them committing crime, because it's your duty to do that, and you're not doing anything wrong. They are not. And I want to tell the public, when police meet you committing a crime, they have a discussionary power whether they should lock you up or just take your name and address and go over to E here where they will summon you. But police not doing that now. And that is bad for good police public relations. Because if you summon a man, let me explain this for your benefit and you all who are listening will hear and know. When you summon a man, as in the case of the Attorney General, when he was summoned with his issues, he was not arrested. So he didn't have to face a magistrate to get bail. He didn't have to face a magistrate where the magistrate will say, well, okay, your bail is $10,000, bring 5. He didn't have to say, to be told, surrender your travel document.
When you summon him, you go straight to court.
Okay, and it will be on the date that is written on it.
Well, real talk. Do you believe...
But one second. And he would not have been ordered to report to police station. And there are people out there who are listening to me who have to do this every day. But again, you can't blame the Attorney General for this. You see all the trouble in Parliament? You can't blame him alone for it because he's not the Parliament. He's only a member. But under the Constitution, he is the principal legal advisor to the government. He gives the government legal advice. But if they don't take the advice, then there's nothing he can do. Just like the 3 judges on the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. When I'm going back here, not that I want to highlight anything, but you can go to the website and you can see the case. I am not reading the case. I know the case very well. And that is 0083 of 2011. All what you see happening here now start from 2011. Most of you don't know that, but I'm not going into that. Not going into that at all. Yes, what would have happened there is that when the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Weber, decided to summon him to go to court, because he didn't arrest, and you don't treat certain people a kind of way if they're not persistent and habitual criminal. I don't know if officers understand that term nowadays. I don't really know. I don't know what teaching they get, what training they get. That's not my business.
I believe the lady with the thing over her eyes and the scale in her hand.
Maybe peek on it. Yeah, you will see that on Mr. Burnett's book. You saw it there? Okay? So you can't see justice. So decide you can't see the thing go. But that was a little humor on your part, really. But let me get to the main thing is so that your listeners can have an understanding and appreciate. Because what I'm saying here, if they have to go to a lawyer, it costs them money. Even before you see the lawyer, you have to pay their secretary $300 and $500. That's why I say to some people sometimes, call me if you have a little issue. If it's something that you have to go to a lawyer, I will tell you. If it's not something where you have to pay them that and they still don't do anything, makes no sense. Right. So what you would have had there is that the police filed the complaint without oath. So he didn't have to bother about bail and jail. Didn't have to worry about that. And it's time police start to look at the thing a little different, where you don't have to lock you up. And even for indecent language. Now, I'm not telling tales out of court. All right? A gentleman in Bubiali, police recklessly and unlawfully break down his door and shot him with a rubber bullet. I know government is looking at compensating him, but they wouldn't come, some people wouldn't come out and tell you all that. But I can tell you this much. The Prime Minister is not happy, and I will shake his hand tomorrow if I meet him on the street. Prime Minister is not happy. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister wants the name of the Special Services Unit changed because they're terrorizing. He didn't tell me that. I'm only saying this. Terrorizing the citizens. Okay? And they gave him a particular name. I'm not going to tell you all this. No, I'm not going to tell you all this. But the Prime Minister, I can say this. As much as he has his own little ways, he's concerned about the people in Bubiali and Point. Whatever else is happening down there is not my business. But I can tell you he does not like the opposition. And if he has his way, he will dismantle that organization that called the Special Services Unit. And as I mentioned that, I can tell you something. They had 3 of that unit in the Guyana police force. They had to disband that unit. And the United States government canceled all the visas for the senior officers of that force. You had a death squad in Jamaica run by a superintendent named Renato Adams. Y'all can go on YouTube, you'll see him there. I love the man because he's a crime fighter. In one night, they killed 7 people. They prosecuted them, but because of fear, they couldn't find the witnesses then. So he and his team, 5 men, got away scot-free. Now you have, before that, close by Haiti, they had some people they call the Tonton Macoutes. You heard about them, Beef?
Yes, I heard it.
Right. That is a group that if they pass the house tonight, nobody see you in the morning and they can't find you. Not even your toenail they could find. That group there. But we had them more in the OECS. We had a group in Grenada called the Mongoose Gang. You ever never heard of them?
Yeah, I heard the name.
Yeah, these are wicked, deadly gang. And don't take my word for it. You can, those of you with access to the internet, can just Google those names and you see what's coming up there. Then recently in Jamaica, not Jamaica, St. Lucia, the Americans canceled the visa for all the officers of the police force. When I say the top officers, those who make decisions, you never heard of that one?
Yes, I did hear that.
And even if they were having a training session in St. Vincent, which is just a stone's throw away from St. Lucia, because where I come from in St. Vincent, I go up on a hill and I could see the light, the harbor light in St. Lucia. So you tell them how close. They couldn't attend that meeting or the training. But come back to our same unity. I want to publicly commend the Prime Minister.
But is this unit a unit on its own?
No, it's not a unit on its own. But when you have a unit called the Special Services Unit, what special service they are doing? You tell me.
Well, I don't know.
When your duty as a police officer is to protect and serve the citizens. All right? Now, I am not saying that you don't have some bad gunmen out there. Okay? I'm not saying that. And we see how it starts to peter out now when they shot that poor officer. Even though he was moonlighting. You understand the term? I don't need to explain that. But at least he prevented a possible murder at Woty King. That's what he did. And he was brave to fire at them, but he's not a good shooter because I haven't heard they found any body anywhere yet. He's not a good shooter. So they should take him back to the police range and give him something. Right. But yes, now I have to continue. Remember, we spoke to the 2 areas where the police could apprehend you and take you before the magistrate or cause a summons to be issued and you yourself have to go to the magistrate. If you didn't go, the copy of the summons that we would normally take back to the magistrate, we would have endorsed it that we, well, it's nothing, no secret, so I can talk about it so you can know. We will endorse that copy to show the magistrate that we serve it to you. And when the police come to you to give you a summons and you walk away, all he has to do is to throw it on the ground and he will explain that to the magistrate. And the magistrate will issue a bench warrant and you resist that. And if the magistrate is not satisfied with the explanation you are giving, then you are going up to 1735.
Relax a little bit.
Yeah, right. So people must understand the reality. You talk about real talk, that is real thing. Real thing happening there. Right. So you have the situation there where they removed those powers from the police and enacted a law called the Criminal Prosecution Services Act. And if you have that, pull it up. Criminal Prosecution Services Act. I will show you where the trouble come and where they try to fix it. And up to the time they went to Parliament on Thursday, it is not fixed.
Criminal Prosecution what?
Services Act. Even if you pull up the bill, if you pull up the bill, you will see a bill there that wouldn't have a number on it. I don't have it with me, but I know it's sufficiently to tell you.
2017?
No, 2021. It's right there. But if you can't find it,
I
let me
got it. I
explain
got it. It's up. I got it.
I want you to scroll down to section 27.
27.
I want to show you how the legislators, and as I say, I am not blaming anybody who doesn't have a legal background. But what I can say to them open here now is that whenever they are given an act or a bill, because that is what it starts out with, for amendment, they themselves have a duty to go back to the original principal act to see what they're changing. And it's because they didn't know what they were changing why they passed it. And now they pass it. It creates problem for the police commissioner, Mr. Hartley Rodney.
And you say you're not...
You get 27?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Well, let me tell you what it says. I don't have it here, but I know it sufficiently to tell you. I love law. The only reason I didn't become a lawyer to represent people is because I didn't have money at that time.
You can go on you know.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't need to represent anyone, no. You follow? But my mind is still sharp and I know exactly what it is. I love law. Any law you see they pass in Parliament, I go to the government Frenchy and the Frenchy people will tell you. And I get it and read it and study it. Yes, so anyway, when they took away the powers, before I run the beef, it is important that I deal with the two things I want to tell you at one time. So you go to the Police Act now. Go back to the Police Act. And you look at Section 31.
Where any police officer lays any information or complaint against any person before magistrate, or any person alleged to have committed any offence is apprehended and brought before magistrate, who is trying or inquiring into the matter of the information, complaint or charge, any other police officer shall have the same privileges as to addressing the magistrate and examining the witness adduced in the matter as the police officer in whose name the information, complaint or charge is laid or made would have had.
Okay. All right. As a matter of administrative policy beef, all complaints are laid in the name of the Commissioner of Police. And if the Commissioner of Police has confidence in beef that he will make good representation before the magistrate, the Commissioner of Police will assign you as one of the police court prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Rodney cannot do that now. Why? The same Criminal Prosecutions Act, the same Section 27, and that's why I told you to go back to 31 so I can deal with both. So you have under Section 23 where the police can apprehend you, meaning arrest you and take you before the magistrate. You have under the same Section 23, which is a duty imposed upon the police, to summon you and take you before the court. All the legislators say to the police commissioner, you can lock up 300 people tonight, and I want to believe there might be a new road tonight holding some. You said last night you arrested 30. 30 is it, Beef? No, you issued 30 tickets, and I think they arrested 5. So if tonight they arrested, say, another 65, the Commissioner of Police cannot. It has nothing to do with how many people you lock up, and the argument is foolish for anybody talking about that, because they don't understand what happened. Even up to the time they're in Parliament passing laws, they still don't understand. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them very well know what they're all about inside there. But if a majority took a decision, you don't have no say. But yes, all that is saying, it doesn't matter how many people you arrested, It doesn't matter how many of them is for marijuana, possessing drugs or gun. Or even if you kill a man, and I'm not telling any citizen to kill anybody. I only use that for you to know. Or if you make use of indecent language, and police cannot arrest you for making use of indecent language, because that is not a crime and it is not an arrestable offense. But let me tell you how the police will lock you up. When he or she, so we have male and female officers, ask you for your name and address, play bright and don't give them. Because when they arrested you, it would not be for indecent language. You'll be charged with it, but it will be for refusing to give your name and address. And let me explain to you why that is necessary.
That's why I always get them a license.
Give them, right, if they can read.
But they can read. But none that can read yet.
Well, yeah, they no, they're bright people, you know. And don't get me wrong, and I don't want anybody to believe I am bashing police. No, I come from the bowels of policing. Okay, I come from there. And this is why I'm explaining this, so that the citizens won't have any trouble with police when they go out on the street. But police must have a reasonable ground to ask you questions. And if the police want to search you, they must ask you permission. That is the law. And if you don't give them permission, what they can do, they can use their common law powers and carry you to the station. And if they're conducting a search, a man or a male officer will search a male officer, and a female officer will search a female officer. Now, you don't need to go through all those hassle with the police if you don't have anything. And I will advise you, when you're going out on the street, don't walk with anything that the police will hold you with and lock you up. Even your shoes can become an offensive weapon. If you saw the news where a young lady went to a party with high heel shoes and getting something and wounded, used the shoes to wound another she got wounded or something like that. You didn't see it?
Yeah.
All right. So you can see the shoes were not made for wounding or fighting. The shoes were made for walking. I think there's a song like that, a singer named Nancy Sinatra. And the sitting knife and fork you have, they are domestic implements for you to eat your food and cut your meat or whatever you have in your plate, or on your plate. But if you use them to commit an offense, we call that, and not we really, the law, but the police who are trained and they know the law, they call that an offensive weapon. And let me say this for the benefit of the police and the citizens out there. The law requires the police officer, if you have a weapon, no matter what weapon, if you have a gun, they will ask if you have a license for it. If you don't, their duty is to take it away from you and take you in custody. If you have a cutlass, what they will ask you now is where are you going with that cutlass. It is written in the law. You can go in the Small Charges Act, those of you who want to know your rights, so that when you go out on the street, you're not molested or stopped or being inconvenienced. I'm not using the word harassing. Police never harass people. That's their duty to protect the rest of society. If they ask you what you are doing with it, and it has to be a reasonable time. You recall the other day the police gave chase to 2 youth. I think one 17, 16 or 18 or something like that. And caught up with them on Independence Drive. Those are the 2 youths Chief Magistrate John Walsh remanded at jail. You remember that incident, Beef?
Yeah.
Right. The magistrate was within her right and still within her right to do that. because you cannot encourage youngsters, youth especially with all this violence, to have meat cleaver going around basketball sporting complexes. Let me put it this way with that. And you can't give a satisfactory account for it. You cannot have a cutlass around those places, entertainment places. You go in there to look fight. And if somebody mash your toe, you want to injure them with a cutlass. You can't do that. And you have to go to jail. Have to go to jail. So I say all of that to let you know that when police ask you questions, you should answer them questions. But let me get back to this. Remember, we talk about the duty. It is a duty of the police. Let me tell you the date. And I will show you where the legislators went wrong. They were not thinking. It's not a bad idea of the act, but the way it is being handled, they didn't handle it legislatively right. Now, this act for the police came into effect on the 1st of January 1952. Be 52 and 48 is 2000. And 23 now, 48 and 23 is 71. Not so, Beef?
Yeah.
I'm not a mathematician, but that was not my strongest subject at school. That was not my strongest, but at least you get 71. But if you take out 2 out of that, you will get 69. 69 years, every police officer from Colonel Branch. You ever heard that name?
No.
A white man from England in the colonial days. I don't know him. I never met him because I was too young to be in anything called policing. But all the white people, Her Majesty would send to the Caribbean to head the police forces. One of them was Colonel Branch here. If you go up to police headquarters, ask Mr. Rodney to show you who is Colonel Branch, because there's a picture of him up there. And the black men couldn't reach higher than sergeant. A little bit of it is going on in the BVI right now. If it were not so, Vier Brown would have been the commissioner down there. You know that? Or you didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
All right. He had applied to be the commissioner down there, but the British, because they're still under colonialism, the British decided everything. So yes, back to this. You have this now for 69 years, and take it from the modern commissioners. We had a commissioner named Mr. Brooks. We had a commissioner named Mr. M.L. Barrow. And after that is the longest serving commissioner, Sir Wright Fitzhenley George. He was the man who recruited me from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He was the man who trained me at Longford Police Station with a former commissioner, Mr. Elton Martin, and Andy Liebert daddy, Mr. Edmund Liebert. And the other one was Edward Mills. He's in Canada. Okay, so I am not a little rabbit. But I can say to you, all these commissioners passed through. So you had Mr. George, you had Mr. Potter, you had Mr. Alvin Goodwin, and maybe that's why I was given his job to be commissioner there, because I was his staff officer. And if you're a staff officer to the commissioner of police, you will see how politicians beat the drum and have you dancing. If you happen to be there, you will see how the politicians beat the drum and have you dancing, hopping. Sometimes you have to limbo. But none of them could have got me to do that. I can't dance. I couldn't dance. Up to now, I still can't dance. Right. But I am showing you, so it came right up to Vier Brown. The trouble with this same act here, the criminal prosecution started with Vier Brown. Then they took it away from Mr. Rodney. Mr. Robinson, you know, he had to jump out of there. The Police Service Commission forced him out of there. They didn't handle that right. And government...
Have you had his mediation, is it?
Well, they are mediating. And there are people, there are some lawyers so wicked. I'm not going to call a name. And I know they have to protect the interests of whoever hired them. Okay? But when you treat a man that way, the law is to send a ball of fire on your head. I'm not wishing for that, really. But at least when you treat people evil, evilness must befall you as well. But yes, Beef. So when they did that, they put when they rob. I'm using this word loosely. That is not robbery. Is what you hear happening every day in and around St. John, and especially the business people. When they legislate and remove that power and the duty from the police, they put it in the hands of the Director of Public Prosecution. That cannot be right, because the Director of Public Prosecution is not out there fighting crime. Cannot be right. But it is a law that has been passed. It is government policy. And one thing with me, I respect government policy. Not that I agree with everything they do, but you have to respect it. If you're in the system, you have to respect it. But I'm not going to suck salt simply because I have to show respect for it. No, no. But it's government policy and it is law, so you have to follow it. So when they did that and say to Mr. Rodney now, because it's he they're speaking to, it's he that took the power from, you cannot file anything there unless the Director of Public Prosecution, Shannon Jones Gittins, give you something in writing and say, go to Miss Walsh with that. Or go to Magistrate Nayo Emmanuel with that. Or Mr. Wason. You can't go there. Now, I suspect they will have a little problem with all the tickets they are issuing to the people. Because until the Senate passed the law that they amended, they can't do anything. But even that is wrong.
What about the Governor General signing?
Well, he has to give royal assent and they have to publish it in the official gazette.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say this to you. We have an act called the Interpretation Act. Let me see if I find it quickly. Yes, I was lucky to find it one time. I always keep because I write and I have to do research, I always keep them handy. I'm going to read something to you. And some of the lawyers don't know about this, so some of them might talk foolishness on radio and confuse you. Okay? Now, some of them, and I hope they're listening so that some of them can look at it for themselves, so that nobody can say, Mr. Pompey telling them foolishness. This is the Interpretation Act, Beef. You want to pull it up?
Go ahead.
Chapter 224, because I want you to read it. This is Israel talk, but it's education talk.
Chapter 224?
Yes.
Chapter 224, yes.
Okay, you go to section 12 and read 12:1. I will just listen just like the rest of your listeners.
12:1. 12:1?
Yes, subsection 1.
An act be amended, altered, or repealed?
Yes.
In the same session of the legislature?
All right. Well, that is so simple and easy to understand. The government of the day, who leads the government, has power to amend, alter, repeal any act they want to do so. The reason doesn't have to be clear to me and you. They would know the reason why they want to do that. what I want to carry down to now is section 14, sorry.
Subsection what? Which one I'm going to?
14, the same one.
14.1, 14.2, which one?
Oh, well, you can go start from one. I will explain briefly.
Where an enactment is expressed to expire, lapse, or otherwise cease to have effect on a particular day, the enactment shall, except as provided by subsection 2, be construed as ceasing to have effect immediately on the expiration of that day.
Yeah, go down to 2 now, and I will explain.
Where a bill is introduced into any session of the legislature for the continuance of any enactment limited to expire in or during that session, and that enactment expires before such bill, having passed both chambers of the legislature, received in that session the assent of the Governor General, that the enactment shall be deemed to have continued as fully and effectively in operation as if such bill had received that assent before the enactment expired.
All right. What that is simply saying to you and I, Beef. Remember, I told you the Criminal Prosecutions Act was enacted in June 2021, 7th of June, and it has an operational life of 2 years. That will end on the 7th of June, say tomorrow. Or today is 19th or 20th.
The 20th of May.
Right. So we have, if today is 20, we have another, 11 days? And 7, another 18 more days. Less than 3 weeks. What the law is saying here, as it is passed through the House of Representatives on Thursday, it must be passed by the Senate before the 7th of June. The law is saying to the government and saying to those of us who would follow the law that once it passes both houses, even if the Governor General has not given royal assent, even if it is not published in the government official gazette, the law takes effect. Are we clear on that?
Yes.
I don't need any going over, and some lawyers are confused. I don't know why they have to be confused. They are confused because they don't know about the Interpretation Act, Chapter 224. So before your program ends, you must throw it out for the lawyers so they can read these things and they will see why the government. It's not that the government don't have any authority. The government always have authority. The government have a Solicitor General. The government has a department there where the drafters, Mr. Benjamin as the Attorney General and the Principal Legal Advisor, all he has to do, those fellows are so good, is all they have to do is just tell them what you want and they draft it to suit. You never go into a bakery and tell them bread, bun, and cheese. A beef?
Yes.
You have to tell them what is cheese and butter?
No.
No, because they know, well, it's the same thing with the drafts people. They know what to do. But the Attorney General has a duty to overlook them as the principal legal advisor to the government. Perhaps he should have, I'm not saying that he's a busy man, he don't have enough time, but he should have somebody based on all this chaos and confusion that led to the little debacle in Parliament that led to the suspension of Mr. Michael. All that come out of the same bill. Because you would have heard, they carry a bit of news on ABS, they showed Mr. Walker speaking to the bill. And I recall when the bill was being passed, he was asking some questions. And somehow some people wanted to lick him down. You would have heard the opposition leader to Mr. Jamil Pringle. He doesn't have a legal background, but he was asking some good questions as well. And those who supported the bill, some of them are in Parliament for, and I am not making no kind of apology for what I'm going to say now. All they are there to do is to add numerical value to the side that wants to hear I. And that I there is A-Y-E. It's spelled A-Y-E, I. And then you will hear the speaker, not necessarily Sir Gerald Watt. That happened while I was there, Sergeant at Arms, long before Sir Gerald Watt. Sir Gerald Watt, I will tell you something about Sir Gerald Watt. I like him, he's my friend. Long before that, those who want to hear I are those who would have tabled the bill. Those in the majority. So they don't have to have the minority there because they have enough to pass it. But while Hansard will show that Beef, you and I are absent, the record will show who were parliamentarians during that period of time. And you can go back to when they were introducing the passport CIP business, when some members decided they were not going, they have other business to do. And you would have heard of 5 who took a stand, Colin Derrick in particular, and he said these words, "Not over my dead body." But when government has its plan and its policies, government will show you that they will get it done whether you're alive or you're dead. That's how government functions. You cannot really put no spoke in government wheel. And all this amount of talking is not helping anything, because if government decides they're going to do that, they will do that. I'm not telling you as the people, because the people have a right to let their feelings heard. And while you might want to, what they call, those of us who have this training would have known this word, affirmative action. The people still are guided by law, the rule of law. You can't go out there and do certain things. As a matter of fact, please, let me run you to something here. Go to the Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda. That is chapter 23. If I don't have this thing in my hand, but I know them sufficiently to tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You look at the beginning where we have 5 founding constitutional principles. At the beginning, you see them. You have A, B, C, D. I think you have E, D too. At the beginning of the Constitution, Beef.
Yes, I'm looking at it.
And if the legislators and the politicians, the people whom the people elected to be in there, would look at those principles, some of the mistakes they are making, they would not make them. I want you to go down to the second to last one, Beef. And that one speaks to the law.
Recognize that the law symbolizes the public conscience, that every citizen owes to it an undivided allegiance, not to be limited by any private views of justice or expediency, and that the state is subject to the law.
All right. No, all that is
I like the part where it says any expediency.
Okay, all right, Beef, right. Well, let me give a little explanation on that. For the law to be the public conscience, but you didn't really, you have to go from the top, man. There is something up there that's saying, where are the people of Antigua and
Barbuda? Yeah.
It's not the government, you know. It's not the government, and I don't think many people who go sit in the government or go in parliament knows even that. They don't know.
Explain the expediency part.
Well, the expediency. Let me deal with the whole thing, Beef.
Mm-hmm.
It is saying the law represents the public conscience. In other words, when the law is enforced, or when you have rules that you applied, it must be so enforced that up to the time the people are denied whatever they're looking for, they are satisfied. That they are not going to have dissent, they're not going to have protestation. That's all it means.
Just bear with me.
Yeah?
recognize that the law symbolizes a public conscience.
Yes.
That every citizen owes to it an undivided allegiance.
Correct.
Not to be limited by any private views of justice.
Right.
Or expediency.
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm coming down there. Remember, we start from the top.
Yes.
Beef, when you climb in a tree, you can't go from the top, you know.
Sometimes you jump in a cherry picker.
Okay. Right, so let me explain that. The law, as I said, is not to drive fear into the citizens. No. Because the citizens, under the Constitution, have a duty and a responsibility. They also have fundamental rights of the individual. So when they're telling you, you can say anything you want to say now. You would have heard, and again, I have to go back to these to refresh your mind or your memory. When Justice Blendman had delivered a judgment here after an election petition, Brother B was not afraid to say if he's in Jamaica, she couldn't come out of that court. Brother B is my friend. You heard that?
Yes.
And people were arguing, but that is the way Brother B felt. And the Constitution allows him freedom of speech. You would have also heard Sir Gerald Watt. Same Sir Gerald Watt. Some decision they gave, I think, in favor of Barbuda, something with Barbuda Council. And he was not happy with the decision that ruled against the government. For two reasons. Not because he was Speaker of the House, that wasn't his concern, but because his law firm represented the government. And he felt that the arguments that he advanced, the court could have ruled in favor of the government. But it doesn't work so. If the decision is wrong, you would take it to the intermediate court. And that court is called the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. That is based in St. Lucia to serve the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, in short, the acronym, I think, OECS countries. That is an itinerant court. They don't have no headquarters where you say you try in case you're trying there, but they have the headquarters administratively. So when the time comes for them to come to Antigua, they will come. When the time comes for them to go to Dominica, they will go. When the time comes to go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they will also go. When the time comes to go to Grenada, and because of technology today, they don't really have to leave St. Lucia. They don't have to leave St. Lucia, but you will get your decision and you will see what they're saying. So when they speak to expediency now, in the same founding constitutional principle, that the people, that is the people. You cannot make a law because it is expedient to do so. And what is happening here now shows expediency in the removal of the authority from the police commissioner, Mr. Rodney, and whoever might follow him after he left, and place it in the hands of the DPP, and telling Mr. Rodney, if you want to put any matter before the court, the DPP must authorize you to do that.
And I looked up the meaning of expediency. The quality of being convenient and practical, despite possibly being improper or immoral. Convenient.
Well.
No, you know why this jumped at me when I saw it? Tonight in this program, even I think it was before I called you.
Yes.
I said, I am observing certain things in this country.
Okay.
I'm seeing it.
Okay. No, the nicest part of that principle is where it says that the state, meaning Antigua and Barbuda, that is the government, let me put it this way so you can understand, the government's functionaries, their agents and agencies, and the government itself. The government cannot take advantage of its citizens. But the government is in a better position to appeal using state resources that you don't have. So you can't fight. And as I am on this beef, because I think we finished about where the state is subject to the law. The Constitution says the police arrest you unlawfully. You have recourse for unlawful arrest and detention. You're aware of that, Beef? And I believe your listeners are aware of that.
Yes, but let me just go back to something.
Go ahead.
Having passed the law that the commissioner, action can be brought in the court by the police, what caused the confusion after that? Why did they go back to change it?
Well, because what they're saying...
Because they had to pass some sort of a validation.
Yes.
What was that
but
all
that
about?
could not validate. No. Beef. And it is a good thing you asked that question.
So what did they go to Parliament for?
Beef, they went to remove the request the police must make and the ONDCP. Those are the only two agents.
To the DPP?
Yeah, right, to make things. So they say you can do that now.
So,
but Beef, let me explain this. Let me explain this, and I want you all to listen carefully. You look at Section 16 of the Police Act, Chapter 330.
Police Act. Did I close it out?
You will find it, man. And that's one I want to explain. So you raise the question at the right time.
You said that is Cap 330?
Yes.
And I'm looking at Section 16, is it?
16:16.
Yeah.
Beef,
withdraw.
Let me shift you quickly, because it might take a little time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go to Section 18, Beef. I want to lead you up to it, but let me carry there one time.
Status of member of the force? Status of member of the force?
Yes, just read it for your listeners.
Every
It's not
person
long.
for the time being serving in the force shall be deemed a member of the force and shall have and enjoy all rights, powers, authorities, privileges, and immunities conferred on a member of the force by any law which is now in force or may hereafter be passed.
Right, Beef. You see all those things? Is only one operative word in it. And I know you're a bright fella, so I'm giving you another opportunity to read it again and tell me what the word is.
Every person for the time being served in the force shall be deemed a member of the force shall have and enjoy all rights, powers, privileges conferred on any law or may hereafter be passed.
You don't get it yet? Well, we are not going to waste any time. Let me tell you. The word there, Beef, the operative word there is conferred.
Conferred, yes.
All right? So Section 16 conferred those things on the police.
The police, yes.
Not the Criminal Prosecutions Act that they passed yesterday. When I say yesterday, I don't mean that, 2021. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And when they make the exception, that does not confer a power on the police. Why? Because the Section 23 that allows for the police to institute criminal charges have been repealed, and they made no reference of it in the Criminal Prosecution Services Act. The police don't want exemptions from applying to the DP because the police never operated under that act. Do I need to explain that again, Beef?
Yes, go ahead again.
The police never operated on the Criminal Prosecution Services Act, which was passed in 2021.
2021, correct.
The police operated under the Police Act.
Police Act.
That came into effect in 1952. So what come before, the chicken or the egg? Sometimes I'm confused with that.
Me too.
Because if you don't have a chicken, you can't get no egg at the same time. If you don't get an egg for to hatch chicken, you won't get no chicken. Right, so it is simple. It is simple. That is the gray area. Because no power, the act does not confer a power on the commissioner and, to even institute any charges there. When the Criminal Prosecution Service Act is saying that those sections are repealed.
So let me ask again now.
Yes.
Since they would have withdrawn, as you said, the police and ONDCP said no, is no longer in the net. Those are my words.
No, well, that is what the thing is saying there, but still that doesn't confer power on them.
I got you.
Are we clear on that?
Yes, I got you. But what happened to what would have happened before they went and changed, before they went to Parliament this week?
Well,
if the police went to court with 30 cases.
Yes.
What happened to those 30 cases?
They will get the fiat from the DPP because the DPP has been issuing them. But what the DPP cannot do, the DPP can't give them a blanket fiat. Because they don't know if I will kill you tonight.
Right.
So they can say, well, prosecute me because they don't know what I'm going to do tonight. Are we clear on that?
Yes.
So it has to be specific, something that happened. And when it happened, your duty now, and this is why the thing is so cumbersome, that when the commissioner of police arrests anyone, he now has to hustle them to get the file, so it is creating backlog in the system. Some people's case will not be heard.
And you're saying they don't blame nobody?
No, I'm not blaming nobody, Beef. I'm only talking.
I hear you. But now I'm understanding some of the contributions I heard from certain members in Parliament.
Okay.
It's a little bit clearer to me now.
Okay. Now, Beef, I'm shifting a little, but it's on the same thing. If you feel that some expedient legislation is helping, then how do you explain the Judge Alone Trial Act? How do you explain that? How do you explain the case against the former government ministers, Mr. Wilmot Daniel, Dr. Jackie Quinn, and Mr. Howard Lovell? How do you explain the case still pending against the former Transport Board General Manager, Mr. Howie Josiah? And these are matters that are before the courts in 2015. You think it's last night? How do you explain the case against my former colleague, Ray John, who every minute waking up out of the sleep and feel that they're doing something to him to go to jail? How do you explain that? That happened since 2017. Now it's 2023. Something is not working, Beef. And I am not blaming. We have 5 judges here from the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. Okay? They are not appointed by government as people just want to say. They are appointed by the Judicial and Legal Services Commission. When the recommendations are made, usually by the legal authority of that, whichever country within the OECS. So if you want to be a judge and Mr. Benjamin recommend you, that will go before, they have a special committee who meets and look at your profile, look at your qualification, look at how you perform over the years. Because what they are concerned about is not how long you've been a lawyer. Not long. Is your ability to comprehend, to understand, your ability to reason, to rationalize things, the knowledge you have on the law. So you would be applying that with your good reasoning to make informed judicial decisions. You think they put in rabbit just there like that, beef? No. If they put rabbit there just like that, everybody going to jail. Everybody going to jail. The kangaroos in Australia will do better. You hear they talk about kangaroo court? You never heard that, beef?
Yes.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when I heard certain things in the parliament the other day, that ran to my mind.
Right. So, well, for the ordinary man in Grace Farm and Point, because when I speak with those people. What that simply means is that when you put people who don't know their left hand from their right hand to do something, beef, you run into trouble. And beef, I want to take this opportunity to read something here for you that you might get in the commentary tomorrow. I'm not guessing I've been using it, but not very regularly. 1 second, please, beef. Let me just find.
All right, you're listening to Real Talk right here on ZDK Radio 97.1 FM. The time in studio is 1 minute after the 11 p.m. hour. We're going to be wrapping up with Mr. Pompey just now. Quite an interesting conversation. I've learned a lot. I see somebody is trying to call in, but to be honest, I don't know yet how to hold the call and bring in another person at the same time, my friend. So I don't want to try with that and the next thing cut off, Mr. Pompey. You back with me,
Right.
Mr. Pompey?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Beef, there was a German general by the name of Kurt von Hammerstein-Equard. And he had a big army, German army to manage. And he said he is putting his men in 4 groups. And you can write down them to see if anybody needs to go in these groups. You can write them down when I tell you them. He said the clever.
Hold on 1 second for me. Let me just get back to where I was. Where was I? There. I just scrolled down the thing here. Go ahead. They're clever?
Yeah. Kurt von Hammerstein, he said he will put his army personnel, and he has done that. He has done that. Into 4 groups. 1, the clever. The people them who are clever would be in 1 group. The stupid, the lazy, and the diligent. Hear that, beef?
Mm-hmm.
But what he's doing, he's putting 2 of the characteristics to each individual. Because he has to sift them out. Interestingly, he said the clever and the lazy. What do you think he's saying, beef? I just wanted to use your imagination.
Clever and the lazy don't do no work, but then use their head.
All right. Well, the clever and the lazy must have the highest position in the army.
Highest position.
Yeah, so you're right with what you're saying. And it's true. They're lazy, but they get me and you to work. Right? They know what to do. They have the right thing. Now, you have now the diligent and the lazy. He said, well, no. They're diligent because they will attend to things, but they're lazy. So nothing will happen. Then you have the stupid and the diligent. So you have to put each one with somebody for the 4 groups.
Mm-hmm.
He said you have to get rid of that person.
The stupid and the diligent?
Yes. You better believe it. Because although he looks at things, make sure that he look at the background of things, that is a man, because he is so stupid, he's going to make bad decisions. So he said, don't give him nothing to do.
But not somebody like that.
Right? He's a man who will do everything, look for everything. But when it comes to making decisions, he can't make them. And you read more of that in the commentary, hopefully tomorrow. But yes, anything else you want me to look at, Beef?
Not at this moment. We would have... Well, we'll have to wait and watch and see what happens at the next sitting of Parliament. As I was saying to you, I'm sure if I'm looking at it and Asad Michael's supposed to have more resources at his disposal, me to show up there Parliament, that don't mean no.
No. If I was his attorney, I would advise him not to go there. You don't want, when you, let me tell you something, Beef.
I would force the Parliament to do it right.
Yeah, but Beef, that's not the way. Because
if I can't go to court.
1 minute, the new standing order put the authority in the House Speaker and the responsibility in the House Speaker for the entire compound of the Parliament.
I agree. But
what you want to do, you're suspended. What you want, who will let you through the gate, Beef? You tell me.
No, so you're telling me though.
Yes.
That in our democracy,
yes,
quote unquote, you can see that what was done was not right, but nothing can be done about it.
That's not what I tell you, Beef.
Well, I'm asking. So
Beef,
what option does Mr. Asad Michael have now?
I don't know what option he has, but I can tell you, if he ventures to go on that premises up there, whatever time, he would be arrested.
Well, we're not living in a democracy then.
No. Well, again, Beef, there are some things you have to follow. If you can have recourse, you can go to the court with that, really.
Right. So that is out.
Our Constitution. Let me see if I find it. Beef, quickly, and read it for you. Our Constitution speaks to the Parliament of Antigua and Barbuda. Pull it up, so because if I find it, you got to read it.
No, I locked that just now.
No, the public want to know, Beef.
1 second, let me see if
this is the education part of it.
Constitution. What section of the Constitution?
You look at 46.
46.
46.
Yes, 43, 45, 46.
So that is the time. Remember, you're outside of the Parliament.
Powers to make laws.
Which
part? 46, subject to the provision of this Constitution, Parliament may make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of Antigua and Barbuda.
Good. Go down to the other one now.
47?
Yeah.
47.1. Parliament may alter any of the provision of this Constitution or of the Supreme Court order in the matter specified in the following provisions of this section. A bill to alter the Constitution or the Supreme Court order shall not be regarded as bill passed by the House unless, on its final reading in the House, the bill is supported by the vote of not less than 2/3 of all members of the House.
But the one I really want is where Parliament has the authority to make laws to govern itself. It's somewhere in there.
Every person who is there with that.
So when they make those regulations, Beef, you have to comply with them.
No. Hear what I'm saying, Mr. Pumpy.
Yeah.
Hear what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
I have no problem that the Parliament puts its standing orders together.
Right.
Right? I have no problem with that.
Right.
I am saying that we have read the standing orders and what the standing orders call for to be done.
Yes.
To suspend one of his members was not done.
No, I agree.
All right. Are you saying to me that there's no provision in the standing orders to right that wrong?
Well, you wouldn't have that in it to right that wrong, because the standing orders are available to every member who must know them and obey them.
Okay, from your perusal of it, you have
Yeah.
not seen anything in there? that says that?
No. The speaker controls everything inside the beef. From DGs that come right down, all of them.
I'm not debating that, Mr. Pompey.
But I'm trying to show you. You want Mr. Michael to go up there now for police?
No,
to hold him and lock
I'm
him up?
out. No, I'm off of that now.
Oh, okay. all
Hear
right,
what
well,
I'm
go
saying
ahead.
to you.
Yes.
We know we can see the rule says
Yes.
that a motion should be put to the House.
Correct.
The speaker can't put that motion to the House.
No. He doesn't have that authority.
Thank you.
Not for him.
Right. So member A makes the motion, puts
Yes.
the motion. Member B seconds the motion.
Yes.
It is put to the House
Yes.
for a vote.
Yes.
That is what the procedure calls for.
But you
Hold on,
forget-
let me just complete my point.
Yes. Go ahead.
That's what the procedure calls for. We have listened to the recording
Yes.
and we know that it was not done.
Correct.
It was not done. What happens after that?
Beef. You would recall before that, and I want you to go back there and read it. It is saying that no debate, nothing at all must be held on it.
No.
And it is not a question of what we call the principle that we call.
Tell me what section. Let me read that because
The same 57.
no. Wait. It says
50 years.
Okay,
You
hold
put
on,
it up,
hold on,
Beef.
hold on. Let's go because I have it right up here.
Right.
If on any occasion the speaker considers that its powers under the provisions of the standing order inadequate, the speaker may name such member under the standing order by mentioning the name of the four members, blah 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 blah. The speaker shall mention the member by name, immediately followed by the naming. A member shall move a motion that the speaker shall put the question to suspend from the House. This question must be resolved without amendment. That is the question now.
Well.
What they're talking about.
No, it's not a question.
One second.
Don't be confused.
No,
because
just
it's
hear
the
me out.
question
Just hear
there.
me out. When
Yeah.
it says this question,
Yeah.
the question that the standing order is referring to is the motion.
What? Yeah, right. What?
And it is saying that motion
Yeah.
must be resolved without amendment, adjournment, or debate.
Right.
Right. So you're not
So
debating.
It finished right there, Beef.
So you're not debating the motion.
No.
Right. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
But no motion is before the House.
Well, that is true, but the order is made already, and the action has been taken. That done gone out.
Hey, I hear what you say, Mr. Pombi. But if I'm to accept that, Antigua worse than some part of Africa when it comes to democracy.
I wouldn't want to say that really.
Well, I just said it now.
It's just like judges.
I just said it.
Yeah, it's just like judges and magistrates. They may make mistake with their decisions.
And when a judge or magistrate make a mistake, we have the option to appeal it to the Privy Council level.
That is true, but
Hold on. All I'm saying is those are avenues to get wrongs right. So I'm not saying that we live in a perfect world, but don't tell me that the Parliament don't have a way to correct it wrong.
Well, they will have to work that out. Beef, let me show you something here. When decisions are made and a party is aggrieved, there is recourse. You wouldn't see that in the rules that they made. It's the same rules that they made. Mr. Michael was part of the rule making.
I don't know that.
Aye?
I don't know he was on the subcommittee.
Well, you don't have to be on the subcommittee.
Oh, you're talking when he was in the Parliament when they adopted it.
So when you come to the House for a vote,
I hear you.
whether or not you vote, it has to go down there in record.
I hear you.
Now, I want to say something to you. When Mr. Benjamin was being prosecuted, and he said that the DPP has authority to instruct the commissioner not to go along with no prosecution, he himself took it to the High Court of Justice. We had a judge in there, Justice Thomas. Justice Thomas listened to all the legal arguments and ruled. While I'm talking to you, Beef, pull up this case named Raymond Blackburn. Raymond Blackburn, Metropolitan Police Commissioner. Pull that up. But yes, the judge looked at everything and said that no, the DPP by himself don't fight crime. The DPP don't go out and investigate report of crime.
You said Raymond Blackburn, what?
Raymond, if you just type in Raymond Blackburn, you see come up the case.
Yeah, go ahead.
It comes up?
No, just something with the Raymond Blackburn Facebook and all kind of stuff.
Metropolitan Police Commissioner. No, you have to put that in.
Go ahead.
Right. So, the judge ruled that the DPP don't have no power. And the appellant appealed to the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. There were 3 judges, including the Chief Justice herself, Dame Janice Pereira. When they advanced the argument, she looked at the whole thing and she said, well, no, the DPP can't tell the police who to arrest from who not to arrest. Obviously, she would have had information, but that is not written in the judgment, because I have the judgment. But the 2 other judges who are subordinate to her said, Chief Justice, you must have drunk too much wine. We know the DPP has power, and we are so agreeing. And they rule that the DPP has power to give the Commissioner Weber instruction not to prosecute Mr. Benjamin. Then you had the Attorney General here, then Justin Simon, Justin L. Simon, KC. You're not QC now, the Queen already dead and buried.
I don't think he was ever QC, I think he was a senior counsel.
Well, he's QC, the King's Counsel now. Right. But here it is. They appealed it to the London Privy Council to show that these 2 judges in the Caribbean here don't have good judgment. And you had 5 justices with 1 female, Lady Hale. I think she wrote the judgment. And she said, well, in the Caribbean, they go plenty marijuana down there. And apparently, those 2 judges who said the DPP has power to instruct the commissioner, they probably smoked too much marijuana. And that is why the case came right back down for the trial to continue in the magistrate court. But that never really happened because that was aborted. And when I say aborted, that was withdrawn. So I say all of this to tell you some decisions that are made, just like the one with Mr. Michael. You heard me refer you to an area where you can read it for the benefit of yourself and your listeners. The speaker was wrong because he cannot be judge, jury, and executioner. But we have a law here, Beef. We have a law in Antigua and Barbuda here saying that a judge has power like jury and authority. You didn't know that?
Which law is
the law that you say that the judge can try you alone. That judge tried the 3 former government ministers, and the judge made a ruling and the government appealed against it. The DPP, I won't say the government. Let me say the DPP. Only the DPP can institute those proceedings. All right? What I find not very consistent is the behavior of the office of the DPP. I am not saying anybody name inside here. I don't know nobody in it. I don't even know who is the DPP, but I know there is a DPP office. Now, you have the same judge dealing with Harry Josiah case. And those 2 cases I told you about there never go beyond the state or the stage where they would be called upon to go on the defense because no case submissions were made. And the judge, that is Justice, His Lordship Justice Colin Williams, I like his judgment, I like how he do things. He acknowledged that the prosecution did not make out a prima facie case. That is to say, a case sufficient to go into full trial.
That was a judge at the High Court.
Yes, yes.
And the
yes.
trial was a judge alone trial.
Well, he was judge and jury.
Who?
He was judge and jury under the judge alone act.
Okay, fine. So all of that is legal. It couldn't happen unless it's legal.
Well, it's legal because it's law. Parliament
Right.
passed the law.
Right. So he ruled the way how he saw fit.
Yes.
Okay. Having ruled the way how he saw fit.
Yes.
And the DPP, as a matter of fact, that matter wasn't appealed.
That's why I told you I am only showing you that appeal, so that's why this thing is still pending from that time.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. But so for whatever reason,
yes,
the appeal have not come up. And depending on what happens at the appeals level,
yes,
then parties have the right to go to the Privy Council, which will be the final appeal.
Correct.
All right. All I'm saying to you, all I'm saying to Antigua and Barbuda, all I'm saying to the world, I will never accept that we can see a wrong in our parliament standing orders and do nothing about it.
Well, I don't know how Mr. Michael will want to handle it. That was an egregious, that was spelled E-G-R-E-G-I-O-U-S. That was an egregious act.
Because if I accept that,
yeah,
I'm here looking at the screen of fighting going on in Sudan.
Yes.
Antigua and far from that.
Well, if you pull up one day beef in India, you see all the bloody face of the parliamentarians then. India.
I'm going to wait to hear what happens in the next session.
But you don't want that. We are not a violent society.
No, I'm not talking that either. All that I'm saying.
I'm not saying you're doing that.
All that I'm saying.
Yeah.
All that I'm saying is,
yeah,
in 2023, when we're supposed to be a democratic society, strengthening our democracy, nobody can convince me that we can plainly see a wrong, something done not according to the rules, and I'm told that you accept it. There must be some appeals mechanism. Either the parliament can correct itself, I don't know. But if we are to accept that we see the wrong and nothing can be done, then we are backwater state. That's all I'm saying.
No, beef, one of the safest nations in this part is Antigua and Barbuda. And you might want to ask me, why did I say that?
Go ahead, yeah. Why did you say that?
Beef, nowhere in the world where people are conscious about security, you would have your Governor General gone to a coronation in England. You would have your Prime Minister gone to your coronation in England. And you will have your Commissioner of Police gone to the coronation in England. In other countries, beef.
So that discussion is a separate discussion we're having. We've moved on, right?
Yeah.
I just want to be sure. Okay, fine. Well, if you haven't been listening,
what I'm showing you, I know what
all
I'm
I'm saying,
you.
if you haven't been listening, it has been said that the palace is responsible for that.
No, I'm not talking about cost.
We're not talking about cost either.
I'm looking about security.
I'm not talking about cost.
I'm looking at security.
So if we're a sovereign state,
yeah,
and you get an invitation and you recognize that your security is compromised, you have to go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because we are not a revolutionary nation who like upheaval, coup d'etat. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That the Governor General can go, the Prime Minister can go, and the Commissioner who's supposed to have the security of the people. Because that is his duty is to protect and serve.
The Chief
but
of
that
Defense
is not.
Staff was
I'm
here.
not going into whether he go or he don't go. That's not my business.
The Chief of Defense Staff was here.
Huh?
The Chief of Defense Staff is here, and I believe Mr. Wade acted or might still be acting as Commissioner of Police.
Oh, I think Mr. Warden is back.
Oh, he's back. Okay,
he's back, yeah.
Well,
He's
Mr. Wade, Mr.
Yeah.
Wade is no longer, and I want to congratulate Mr. Wade because some people on the block were saying he could never act.
Well, circumstances was that one, really. But Mr. Wade, let me tell you about Mr. Wade. Mr. Wade, no, I am no hypocrite.
Wade is my friend.
Mr. Wade worked closely with me when I was staff officer to Mr. Goodwin. When I have matters that I need him to look at, he was in charge of Interpol. You know what Interpol is all about.
How can you believe you didn't get the opportunity to act before?
Right. Well, you see, let me tell you something. If the administration of the day doesn't trust you, doesn't have confidence in you, you can act, no matter what.
Mr. Wade is that bad of a police officer?
No, don't carry me down that road. Mr. Wade, let me tell you something.
Is you tell me about trust?
1 minute, every day I talk to Mr. Wade. You better believe it. Every day. And if you listen now, you hear me saying that. Every day I talk to him, and my choice of commissioner would have been Mr. Wade.
So how come he's not trustworthy?
Pardon me?
How come he's not trustworthy?
No, I'm not saying he. No, I'm not. No. Don't carry me down the road. I'm not. Mr. Wade is not trust. Mr. Wade is an action man.
I can.
But
Anyway,
you see the danger in these small communities, and this is why you see I can talk like this, because I never edge up with politicians. I never go and beg them for nothing. I don't tell them, give me a job, give me this, give me that. No, I don't do that.
So people who does those things are trustworthy?
You have to dance the tune that's been played.
So those people who dance to the tune that's been played are trustworthy?
No, but they have a role to play.
Dancing.
You don't know that?
Dancing.
Yes, they have to dance. When the music play, you have to dance.
Me too fat.
No, there was a commissioner of police in Jamaica, and he was being interviewed by the BBC, and they asked him how come he survived 2 administrations. Now, you would recall Sir Whitehead George worked with all of them. From Sir George Walter come up, Papa Bird first, Sir George Walter come up, right up. And he remained there. Why? Mr. George never showed that he was politically affiliated. And I'm going to give you something that I learned in Jamaica in 1987. The instructor, who was a British officer, because they brought the Hendon police training into Jamaica, they wrote on the tablet, politics, and they also wrote police, and they are showing you when you reach at the letter I, the 2 of them go their separate ways. You can see that in your mind's eye, Beef?
Yeah.
Because you would have P in politics, P in police. O in politics, O in police. L in politics, L in police. I in politics, I in police. After that, one of them is T and one of them is C. They say, well, no. You continue with C and E. You want anything better? They were actually communicating a message to us. The politicians of the day and the government of the day, you have a duty to support them, to protect them. But you can't be dancing with them. But the commissioner in Jamaica saying, well, you have to learn to dance between the raindrops. That's the reason how he was able to manage to manipulate them. But then Jamaica wasn't so as bad as in terms of crime and violence like now.
Mr. Bumpy?
Yes?
I really do appreciate the time that we spent talking. Much has been learned, I can tell you that.
Well, thank you.
And I appreciate that. Thank you very much for
And don't
accommodating
hesitate to
me.
call.
Yes, I won't. And let us see what happens. Let us see what happens.
Yes.
In a few days' time.
But let me leave you with this encouragement. Encourage Mr. Michael not to go up to Parliament.
Well, I don't really speak to Mr. Michael. He's not one of my friends.
Well,
my associate.
Well, send a message to him because I know what would happen. And I am no hypocrite. Mr. Michael is my friend. He is my parliamentary representative. But you recall when I started out, I let you know he was disrespectful to the chair. You can't be. In the police force, we call that insubordination. And in the homes, when you talk back to your mommy and your daddy, you look for them to knock out your teeth. Well, that is if they're able enough to do that.
That is when you're a child, man.
Well, when you're a big man,
you can't expect to disrespect your parents.
Right.
And you're right. When you're a big man, you get out of the house.
Right.
I think that Mr. Michael is a big man, and I think that the chairman, the speaker is a big man too.
Well, the chairman, in terms of procedure, he made a mistake.
I mean, I think that big people can be rude now. Big people talk their mind.
No, that it depends.
Well,
if you
me tell you about me.
Follow me, beef. You are in the military, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In the military and the police, we call them discipline forces.
Yes.
And this is why they have disciplinary offenses. You would have been facing a court-martial.
But one thing I know.
Yes.
That might be true, but one thing I know. I'm not carrying out no illegal order. I know that for sure.
No, well, you don't have to.
I know that for sure.
You don't have to. When you're, let me tell you, any order that you see any police officers, the police officers are carrying out, they must have the backing of law. And the same two sections I told you, and your listeners can look at them to see what the police can do from what they cannot do, are sections 22 and 23. Because if they go beyond that, they could face disciplinary action, which is internal. And if they go outside of that to commit criminal offenses, well, they are being dealt with just like the ordinary member of public. And you would have seen quite a few of my colleagues are in jail right now, some serving time. A good friend, a good officer, very polite, very courteous, very respectful, named Corporal Thomas Bigfoot. He made a mistake. And another good officer named Corporal Slack, well, he got a little slack. He got a little. I don't need to go into those things, but I am showing you, if you break the law in the way it is, you are going to be punished. And I'm not taking tales out of school. An officer did something stupid a few days ago when they barged into one of the OECS consulate to do something. Anywhere you see, and this is the benefit of officers who might be listening, anywhere you see a consulate, such as China, you cannot go inside there because you don't have a visa to go in China. Are we clear on that, Beef?
Long time.
Anywhere you see a consulate for Guyana, that is Guyana itself. And you can't go there unless they give you entry. Wherever you see Grenada, St. Vincent, wherever they are consulate. And this is why Julian Assange, did that name ring a bell to you?
Yeah.
They can't get him out to lock him up. He's not coming out from where he is. He's in a safe haven. One time you put a foot outside, they grab you. But it's just like the military base. If a crime is committed there, you can't go up there and say you're investigating so. The chief of defense staff has to allow you to come in. So again, if you don't know, you'll make those mistakes. I throw this out so that officers who are likely to make those mistakes can understand when things like that happen, when certain things happen, report to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Because those are the only people who have communication with the consulate, not me and you. Police can't go inside and say they're searching.
All right.
That is off limit. Okay then. All the best. and
Thank you
good
very
night
much.
to your
I'm going to
listeners.
get off the street just now.
Okay then. all
Thanks
the best.
again for the information.
Okay then. All right. Bye
All
bye.
right, the time now in studio is 11:35 p.m. and I'm going to be getting out of here just now. Jablaki, you worry about me and me lose 2 games. You lose 3 games. Why you not worry about that? 190, 108. See that same thing? The same thing. Who's that? On your now, uncle, you know. Your mind phone business and like a pimple pass it. Boy, you now turn around the hot day, you get blow like you're crazy. No. Something to write there. Quickly, before I go. Sean?
Yes, me now pay. Me do my work and pay me my money. And me now give you nothing to my money. Can me work for them, right? Good, you work for your salary and I get nothing to the money that me get neither. Okay, this is like a before time. Imagine me work for my money hard. Me and my crew will work for my hard. And when me get for me 20,000, me have to give you 5,000 out and for you give me for my money. And drunk in your cavalier and English rapper. Yeah, see I'm jail and cemetery can never be empty in this country. Yes, me now pay. Me do my work and pay me my money. And me now give you nothing to my money. Can me work for them, right? Good, you work for your salary and I get not them little money that me get neither. Okay, this is like a before time. Imagine me work for my money hard, me and my crew will work for my hard. And when me get for me 20,000, me have to give you 5,000 out and for you give me for my money. And drunk in your cavalier and English rapper. Yeah, see I'm jail and cemetery can never be empty in this country.
No, the change never came. What a shame, what a shame.
Hey, the time in studio. 11:36 p.m. Hey, let me just thank you very much for staying the course with me tonight. Hey boy, I have some things on my script, but we're gonna have to deal with that Godspell Live next week, Saturday. Hey, that is if they're still relevant. Yeah, I didn't want to break Mr. Pumpy's flow. I thought the information that he brought was quite good. Hey, thank you again, Mr. Pumpy.
So you promise transparency and you plan to weed out corruption. Village council, you say we will see throughout the island. Look how you severely criticize the former government regime. Swift justice you will exercise when you get in. So your manifesto I carefully perused. And after the big show I blew my eyes to the news. Hoping, waiting and watching for that big change to come. Truly anticipating to ring the bells of freedom. But when I see Lester B regain political fame, I cry, what a shame, what a shame. Me band, me belly in pain, the change never came. So I guess you playing again. No, the change never came. What a shame, what a shame. Did I do? Oh, Dando.
Let me just say thank you again to Mr. Pumpy. Hey, for all those who would have WhatsApp. Hey, thank you for staying the course with me tonight. Hey, to the silent majority. Hey, those who are just gonna listen. Hey, thank you very much for staying the course.
Long years, you watch the corruption rising.
Hey, remember,
Watch all them millionaires corruption.
burn the little extra electricity, ladies.
Remember,
Your security is priority number 1.
did make a couple of them. Then when
And please,
raining and
hey, keep the Almighty God as your guide. Hey, because once the Almighty is in your boat,
praise Satan,
hey, you will smile at the storm. And never forget,
you know full well
if the Almighty brings you to it,
that partner.
He will bring you through it.
You bring him into your party. Then
Hey, when we hear the police and them on the road to do their work, that's a good thing.
look, you gave him a
Now, let me get off the street now.
treat him as if he win.
Hey, enjoy your day tomorrow, everybody. Enjoy the upcoming week.
Dr. Kuhn's political aim. I cried, what
Hey, I'm going out with the sounds.
a shame.
Hey, one of the 2023 piece. Hey, that's put down by Willie Wawa.
Running we get.
Hey, this one he tagged A sound of pan in my head.
What a shame, what a shame.
Hey, the man Willie Wawa. Hey, what's up, King? Hey, rest well, everybody. Hey, much love.
I was awakened one morning by the sound of pan. The strangest thing, there was no steel band. Listening to glorious sound of perfect instruments. Big sessions that was happening inside my head. I can't wait to hear this tune on whale pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam, sound of pan in my head. I did not want anyone to think I was going mad. Sounds I heard that was internal. Sound like the works of masters of pan in this land. Ring, 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 ring in my ears. Works of gay to sovereign. I can't wait to hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam, sound of pan in my head. I got to find me a panya to transfer this sound. For all to hear it on real steel drum. I asked like who can call this and CC to assist me. So when they hear ring, 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 ring in my ears, sound of perfect instrument. I can't hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam, sound of pans in my head. No steel band, listening to glorious sound of perfect instruments. Big sessions that was happening inside my head. I can't wait to hear this tune on whale pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam, sound of pan in my head. I did not want anyone to think I was going mad. Sounds I heard that was internal. Sound like the works of masters of pan in this land. Ring, 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 ring in my ears. Works of gay to sovereign. I can't wait to hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam, sound of pan in my head. I got to find me a panya to transfer this sound. For all to hear it on real steel drum. I asked like who can call this and CC to assist me. So when they hear ring, 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 ring in my ears, sound of perfect instrument. I can't wait to hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to to end this song. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, sound of bands in my head.
Studios located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop there!
And our transmitter located at the highest point, Body Peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International, 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.